Hi, how is everyone doing tonight? Any bets on how long it takes Aaron to get eaten by a hackfish? How is everybody doing? Welcome, thank you for joining us for the premiere and preview of the Dishonored role-playing game. I am very, very excited to get to run this with such a fantastic group tonight and get to show it off to all of you. Please make sure you get the retweets going on the Going Live tweets and let people know that we're here and that they should come and watch us find adventure on the streets of Dunwall. I'm super, super excited. While Tetley appears. Yeah, this is going to be awesome. Obviously, I've seen the core rulebook and I have read through it, and it has been fantastically written. The rules for this are, if you've been around here for Star Trek Adventures or any of the 2D20 games that have been played here on Encounter, you will recognize these mechanics quite a bit. They are very, very similar to Star Trek, but it's been streamlined down even more. So this plays really, really nicely. Super easy mechanics, super smooth to do, very, very narrative, very descriptive, which is always awesome in games, especially playing here on stream at Encounter Roleplay, because it just gets the story going that much quicker as well. So I'm really excited to get to show you this version of 2D20. Ruin your players with even more ease. I'm not sure. More like John Carter. Yeah. So kind of the same philosophy of having mechanics that help describe what it is that you're doing and streamlining things down. But yeah, I'm super excited, and I'm sure all of you are too. It's been fantastic to get to work on this in the ways that I have as well. So hype, all of the hype. We've been excited in our chat as well about the game, getting to see everyone's characters. I'm excited for them to get to show them off to you as well. So it's going to be a good one tonight, and it's a 2-shot. We get 2 of these, which is awesome. So yeah, exploring the streets of Dunwall, perhaps hearing some familiar locations and seeing what is in store for the wonderful, wonderful players' night and their characters. And I think we're going to be heading over to say hello to those wonderful players in just a second. So may there be enough juicy fruits for 3+. I also hope it is as simple as I'm describing it. I absolutely believe it is. If you're familiar with Star Trek and stuff, it's very, very similar to that, but really streamlined down. So hopefully you enjoy watching it, and I think it would make a great palate cleanser for your group. Good change of scenery and mechanics is always a good thing. But I think let's chat for a couple more minutes. Oh, I like it when I get to be in Tunnel and tell you about all of the things happening. Yeah, how many people here have played the Dishonored video games? That would be cool, because I'm sure there's going to be some things that you recognize. Can I give you a brief intro on 2D20? Yes, I can. So 2D20 is a roll under system. So usually you have 2 aspects of your character, like a skill and attribute. You add those together to get a target number, and you take 2d20 and you roll both of those. And you're looking for each dice to roll under or equal to that target number. Every dice that does is a success, and you need enough successes to meet a difficulty. So if your difficulty is 3, you want 3 successes. There are ways to get extra successes on 2 dice, but we also have a mechanic called threat and momentum. So they're like a meta currency, and if you get more successes than you need, then you gain momentum if you're a player, or threat if you're a GM, and you can use that to add detail to the world, make things happen, ask questions, and you can also use it to buy extra dice. So if you need to hit that super difficult difficulty 5 test, you can buy up to 3 extra dice with that momentum to roll along with it. So it's really, really simple to get hold of. And then you have lots of aspects about your character that are really customizable. So you get talents, and you can also have focuses, which are like specialist knowledge. Talents are kind of like special abilities your character has, and they can all affect your dice rolls or certain things that happen in game to give you little bonuses and boosts. And we flavor that for each of the IPs that we have. So Star Trek is a little bit different to Conan, and that's a little bit different to John Carter, and likewise that's going to be a little bit different to what you see in Dishonored tonight. So this is a much more stripped down version of 2D20 in comparison to some of the other games that we've done. But it works really, really well, and I'm really in love with this version of 2D20 because it really, really helps support kind of narrative play and helping players describe what they're doing, even if they're talking about the mechanics, which I really, really love. Whale punk and whale oil, big things here. It's there's a lot of themes in this of kind of Victorian Europe and Victorian Britain in terms of like some of the dress and some of the architecture, but you've got this kind of whale punk theme going on, and lots of themes of kind of clockwork and machinery as well, which is really cool. Whales everywhere. Yeah, whales are pretty devastating in this. And whales also kind of have a weird thing that they're connected to the void, which is kind of this other place outside of normal reality. So yeah, it's a setting that's got a little bit of occult stuff going on for a couple of different reasons. You've got like the outsider, who is an entity, a godlike entity that can bestow powers. You've got witches in this game. So lots of stuff going on as well. So you can play this as a very kind of urban-based game in kind of cities and streets. And if you want to, you can kind of bring in that supernatural kind of occult-like nature in very subtly and in a way that's really, really interesting. It's not at all kind of like your standard like fantasy stuff, and it's not quite horror in terms of the occult. It sits on this kind of nice middle line, like it's always just there in the background. So yes, and lots of rats. There are lots of rats in Dunwall. So this is going to be a ton of fun. That is where we are setting the game tonight. It's going to be over in Dunwall. So which is going to be available as PCs. Not as such, because any of the kind of void power stuff is all kind of dealt with through taking the outsider's mark or some of the archetype backgrounds. So I don't believe that there is an outright like witch background, but you can play characters who have those powers. And you can do that through having them marked by the outsider. You can do that through runes, through bone charms, all of that good stuff. So yes, you can play witch characters, but there isn't a specific like witch archetype. The archetypes are a little bit more broad and a little bit more kind of, I guess, not normal person, but you have things like guards. You can play some of the members of the gangs. You can play explorers. They're a little bit more general like that, and then you can put that supernatural fun about Dishonored on top of those archetypes, making them a little bit more. So I think on that note, since we're talking about characters, we should go and meet the players for tonight and their characters and get in to the adventures in the streets of Dunwall. So without further ado, let's head over and say hello to them. friends. I know you just saw me like 30 seconds ago, but here I am again to introduce you to my wonderful players tonight and their incredible characters. So let's go around, say hello to everybody. Max is with us. I think he's just popped off to get something, and we are just waiting for Aram to come in. So let's go around, say hi. Tell us a bit about you and the character that you're going to be playing tonight. So Darby, let's start. What are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm very good. I'm very excited for this. I think it's going to be all kinds of fun. But yeah, I'm Darby, and tonight I'm going to be playing Tarquin Graves, who's a bit of a fancy lad who is kind of just up in everyone's business. Like that's his stock and trade, is knowing a lot about everybody.
Sounds good. I feel like that is a useful skill on the streets of Dunwall, especially with perhaps some of the people that you hang around with.
Yes.
Let's move on to speaking of people that your character might hang around with. Hey Jordan, how are you doing? And who are you playing tonight?
Oh, I'm so excited. I'm so good. I'm so ready. I always look forward to Fridays. But today I'm going to be playing Hellwise, she is a feisty little chicken nugget. She's got really short, dark hair, really edgy. I like to think of her as like the pre-stages of being a bad guy. She really enjoys hitting things. She thinks it's funny. But she's not evil yet, so we'll be okay.
Yet, but who knows by the end of these 2 sessions what may happen. And also tonight we have the wonderful Raven. How are you doing? And who are you playing tonight?
Doing pretty well. I'll be playing Zevi, who is a former ship surgeon turned assassin. She's pretty much chaos incarnate, and yeah, I'm not sure that she's quite an evil character either, but she certainly likes to just toe that line for sure. Is very likely to threaten you if you just look at her funny. But she also has a habit of hitting everything with a pulse. So yeah, it's gonna be fun.
This is going to be good. There's a lot of themes in Dishonored, obviously, of chaos and order, and I think that we're definitely on the side of chaos with the characters tonight. I believe we're just waiting for Max to come through. I think we've got a couple of technical difficulties on that end. So I'm gonna do the shout outs for everything else going on, and then hopefully by the time we've done that, we will have both of our wonderful other players here in. It seems that the chaos is spreading already and we haven't even started. So don't forget, wonderful viewers, you can interact with the stream. Don't forget to retweet. There is a going live tweet because the wonderful wild magic surges, that we have over here. So make sure that if you haven't hit retweet, you go and do that. You can obviously tip the wonderful cast here and provide them with automatic successes, banes, and boons, and you can find that in the bits menu below. And please clip anything that you think was funny, that you thought was awesome roleplay, that was interesting. Actually clip those. We love seeing them. We always enjoy them, especially if they are gifable. Even better. So keep an eye out for those moments for us, and keep an eye out for any polls in the chat as well. And you can also catch up on all of the shows here on Encounter Roleplay on YouTube. So we're playing Star Trek, so if you've missed any of those episodes, you can go back and watch them. And if you've missed any episodes of the other fantastic shows here, go and watch them on YouTube. Give yourself some entertainment. You deserve it. And if you're watching on YouTube, hi, thanks for joining us, and we're glad to have you. The other people we should definitely shout out are our awesome sponsors. Obviously, tonight we are sponsored by Modiphius Entertainment, who's the company I work for as well, who actually are making the Dishonored role-playing game. So please keep an eye on our website over there to get more information about when this is coming out. and it's soon. That's all I'm allowed to say right now, but it is very, very soon. So if you're interested, make sure you signed up to the mailing list over there to be the first one to hear about when Dishonored comes out. But we should also give a shout out to all of our wonderful sponsors. And to do that, we're going to go over to Past Charlie to tell us about those fantastic folks too.
Before we begin today's show, I would like to take some time to remind you about our sponsors. Fantasy Grounds, our virtual tabletop of choice. All of the beautiful maps and roles you see tonight are done using Fantasy Grounds, which you can try for free at fantasygrounds.com. You can also get all of your miniatures from Wayland Games. Go to waylandgames.co.uk and get yourself a huge range of D&D, Warhammer and 40k minis for up to 20% off regular retail price. And Tabletop Loot, who sell incredible dice. Go and check them out at tabletoploot.com.
Thank you, Past Charlie, for telling us about all of our wonderful sponsors over here on Encounter Roleplay. I think we've got a couple more minutes to go. We've got some technical difficulties, unfortunately, with the other members of the cast, but I'm sure that they will be here in just a minute. So I think we are going to jump in and we will say hello to them as they arrive. All of you are, in one way or another, sitting in a tavern. A little pub on the corner of a busy crossroads in the distillery district of Dunwall. Perhaps you are outside in the nice cool air of the early evening. Perhaps you are inside in the warmth of the pub proper, the Oathbreaker, as the sign above the door reads. It's tattered and worn, the wood chipping in places and the paint having peeled long ago. It's not the nicest place in Dunwall to drink, but people don't bother you, and the ale and the beer here isn't watered down. One of you is talking to somebody that you know, a woman who's standing at the bar, speaking to a young man. And Tarquin, I'd like you to describe, what does your character look like as you were talking to this woman that you know as Foxglove?
Yeah, Tarquin, he's quite a fancy lad. So he's got like a waistcoat that's a little bit fancy and a nice white shirt. His hair's all nicely coiffed and facial hair is impeccably trimmed, but he has like a little bit of a dirty overcoat on over the top to sort of try and hide some of his fanciness a little bit. And we'll just be sort of trying to blend in, but maybe not doing the best job. I don't know.
I imagine that you are just that ever so slightly overdressed for the location. Most people probably wouldn't notice it, but the shirt's too clean. It's too new compared to the other people around you who are dressed in kind of smarter workwear. But it's torn. There are places where it's threadbare across the shoulders, or where there might have once been decoration. And the woman that you're talking to, Foxglove, she's got her hair kind of pulled back, and she's wearing what would be a fine waistcoat, was it not smeared with what looks like soot or dirt that's just kind of built up, and long knee-length boots that come up over the trousers that she's wearing, as she holds a drink in her hand, a Padilla pear soda, as she's known for drinking. And she sips on it and she looks at you. Well, I've heard there might be some jobs going for the Bottle Street gang. Turns out they're having some problems. And she kind of leans in as the conversation changes to this, and she hushes down a little bit.
Problems?
Well, often making elixir ain't cheap, even here. But apparently a few of their boys went off wandering into the flooded district. Heard that there was some bank or something hadn't been looked over yet. Heard that there was some interesting stuff in a safe or a deposit box, whatever those rich bastards decide to store their stuff in, that nobody went back to recover. Except they went off and they didn't come back.
How unfortunate.
Well, unfortunate or little shits have decided to make a runner with whatever they found. Apparently the Bottle Street gang's paying pretty well to find out what happened to them, just in case, you know, they made off with some gold. Or so.
Sounds like an excellent opportunity for someone who knows where to look.
For somebody who's stupid enough and brave enough to make their way into that district.
So, how much is this info going to cost me?
Well, I mean, we are old friends, Ren. Yeah, I still remember when that was the name you went by.
No, maybe not so loud.
But, you know, I owe you one, so that information's free. How to get into the flooded district, not even I know. There are places that even I don't bother with in this city. Too many guards, too many tall boys, walls of light. Sounds like a job for more than just me. And I feel like I've been pretty lucky so far, and heading over there means my luck might run out. Because even if you get past that, you've got the Weepers to deal with, the Whalers. And I ain't exactly on good terms with them as of recent, so... But I'm sure you've got some friends, and she looks around the bar, and her eye catches a few other people here that you might know well, or you might have known in passing. Or you might just know by word of mouth. But like I said, I owe you one. So if you want to go and collect on that, what you've got to do is wander your pretty little self in there, find out what happened to them. Bonus points if they are just lying there face down a pool of water due to unfortunate circumstances. Bring back some proof to the Bottle Street gang, and perhaps you'll get yourself some elixir and some coin. And somebody comes in through the pub's front door and calls out her name. And she kind of looks around. She's like, well, I think that ought to be my cue to go. So I'll leave that with you then, Tarquin.
Thank you very much.
She kind of says the name with a smile, as, you know, she switches between the both of them, having known you for some time. And she finishes what's left of the pear soda, puts it on the bar, kind of taps the bar space next to you, and hauls herself off the seat and saunters out of the pub, leaving you with this information of a job, some work. Not something that's always easy to come by in Dunwall.
I guess I'll start looking around it and see if I spot any contacts who can help with this job.
And who would you like to head over to?
Who's inside right now? Is everybody inside, or are there?
So everyone is currently inside.
Yep.
Okay.
Probably at the opposite end of the bars where Zebby is.
Okay. Yeah, I think I'll head towards where Zebby is, and maybe.
Hey,
maybe
what's
buy
up,
her
Turkey?
around. Oh, not a lot. Just been given some interesting information. I thought that might interest you.
Well, you just bought me a drink, so that buys you a few minutes.
Well, seems that I've already forgotten the name of the gang.
Bottle Street gang.
The Bottle Street gang. I'll relay the information that I heard.
Okay, so they want to make it look like what's his name just sort of, drowned or died of natural causes. Is that it?
I mean, we can assess the situation when we get there, I suppose. But it's
All
a
right.
chance for some good loot and some good favor.
Well, if you just want some arteries cut, I can do that on the cheap. If you want it to look like an accident, costs a little extra, but I can do that too.
Fantastic. Do you know anyone else who could... it's going to be pretty dangerous going. Anyone in mind?
Great. We should probably get some chumps that we can throw in front of all the danger if we need to. That way we can get out with the money.
Yeah.
I think I know this one guy used to run on some of the same ships together. Crap, what was his name? He was always taking his shirt off, which is kind of hot actually, but Hardy something, I think was his name. I don't know, he comes in here a lot, if I remember right. So he might even be here.
I hear my
So he
name.
starts looking around.
Right. But even though I hear my name.
You absolutely hear your name.
Yeah, but I don't like I look up, right? And I'm just sitting, leaned against one of the posts that supports the whole roof, and I've got a big old whalebone in my hand, and I'm just like carving it. So it's whole like scene that wraps around it, this really in-depth. So I've clearly been doing this for years, right? And I just gotta look up and I see him, and I just go back to carving.
Okay, very quickly, I want to shout out, we have a crit fail for a player of my choice from James over in chat. So I'm going to hold on to that for a good moment. And it looks like chat has also unlocked a boon for somebody here. So I'm gonna do that randomly. Let's see, who does that go to? Max, you receive a boon thanks to chat's unlocked one with the retweets. I will let this be, like we've had in previous games, a kind of narrative boon. So at a time when perhaps you need something to be more in your favor, you can use that to introduce something to kind of help you out there. But yeah, so we see Hardy up against this post, kind of carving the whalebone. And Hardy, you can probably overhear this conversation a little bit. You've heard your name mentioned. You've heard talk of money as well.
I like money. It works. I like eating. So eventually, I would just kind of like, after my the third time I heard my name, I would just I would sigh and put my knife down in the table in front of me, tuck my cover my whalebone in linen a cloth and tuck it away gently. And then pull my knife out as I stand up, and whole 6'5" frame just kind of saunters over.
Hey,
You got
Hardy,
work.
isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Looks like you're still carrying a boner for me, huh?
Hardy laughs. He likes a joke. Listen, you got jokes or you got work?
Hey, I got everything.
I hear that. Is Bay good?
I don't talk to Turkey.
Talk to Turkey, is that what you said? Right.
Turkey.
All right, let's talk Turkey.
Over Tarquin.
How much we getting paid? What we doing?
Pay, unsure yet. It could be pretty good. Certainly a lot of opportunity, a lot of dangers to go with it. And again, I'll relay the information to Hardy.
So I don't know how much of that you caught, Aaron, but essentially, the Bottle Street gang have had a couple of guys who went over to the flooded district, hearing that there was a bank there that had some safes that hadn't yet been turned over. So the flooded district flooded when the banks of the Wren Haven burst during the kind of height of the rat plague. And so the place is essentially quarantined off, surrounded by guards and tall boys, walls of light that prevent you getting in. And the place is full of weepers. It's also where the whalers tend to make their home. Another one of Dunwall's kind of factions. And they want to find out what happened. They suspect that perhaps their boys fell to a terrible fate, either the architecture just crumbling, or perhaps some of the creatures that dwell there, but would like someone to go and check to make sure that they didn't just run off with whatever they found. And they're pretty much promising some coin and perhaps even some elixir, which is what the Bolt Street Gang make here in the distillery district, as a reward for finding out either way.
All right. And, my guy's got nothing better to do. He's bored and he's hungry. So he nods along. He tries not to be too excited because, he's 19, so 50 coin is a lot to him. So he tries to play it cool. He's like, all right, yeah, I'm in.
But all of you also know that this area done is particularly dangerous, and even trying to get in could land you in jail or worse.
Yeah. Again, I'm 19. I'm an idiot. So I'm willing to do anything dangerous whatsoever. Let's go.
And so we have Hellwise. You are sitting not too far away from this group that has now converged together, and perhaps you spot some vaguely familiar faces, but you've overheard some of this conversation. The talk of the job, the reward from the Bottle Street Gang, perhaps even a foot in the door with them, if that's something that Hellwise is interested in. As some people you met are all standing chatting.
So she's sitting over there, definitely with someone, and you can tell that she is kind of nonchalantly trying to push all of their buttons as she sits there. And then as soon as they start giving her the time of day to be annoyed, she kind of stands up. She's like, be back, and leaves and walks over to the group. Are y'all around a table currently?
You're up at the bar, aren't you?
We're at the bar.
Yeah, at the bar.
So she walks up and splits in between two of you and pops up on the bar and sits down and goes, so I hear y'all are talking about the distillery district. Nobody? Oh, what a shame.
I'm sorry, I was distracted by things. Zemi's very clearly just looking her up and down.
And you see as the pub owner kind of comes past, spots you sitting on the bar, and catches your eye. It's like, at some point I'm going to have to put a plaque on that bit of the bar for you, Hellwise, as he goes back to making somebody else's drink.
And she kind of winks at him and then turns back around and goes, so, when do I start?
What can you bring? What skills you got?
Well, goodness. And she picks up a glass off the bar and straight up throws it at the wall. And she's chaotic. And she just stares at him. She goes, you want me to prove myself?
No. Forgive me for questioning.
Okay.
Very few people even are alarmed by this in this particular pub. The tavern owner comes along, and there's a few other kind of glasses up here, empty ones, that he very quickly collects. You hear him tut and sigh, but you're in here enough that you know this gentleman quite well. He knows you. You can get away with a little bit. And lastly, we move over to somebody else sitting in this pub. We have Sebastian. Where are you in relation to the rest of the group? You might vaguely know some people, you might know one or two of them quite well, but where are you sat? Oh, I think you're muted, Max. I am now just imagining that all of you are kind of huddled round where... oh gosh, I'm so sorry. I had a moment then. Where Hellwise is sitting, as you're a closer and closer knit group. And as you do this, you are starting to draw a little bit of attention. People are you notice as people come past, they're kind of being a bit nosy. You get a couple of regular patrons who say hi. You order some more drinks. Some mulberry mead appears as one of you perhaps buy some. But it seems so far that you've got the beginnings of a crew. I need somebody, while we wait for Max just to get that audio going. It's all good. Could somebody roll me? Let's see, what should this be? If somebody wants to give me a study, cleverly test with a difficulty of 1, I can give you, if you're successful, I can give you a little bit more information about what you might know about the flooded district, which is where you might be heading.
Tarquin's pretty good at those.
Okay, yeah. I mean, you know Dunwall quite well, so...
Study and cleverly, yeah?
Study cleverly, yeah.
Okay.
So you're adding those two together. So study is the skill and cleverly is the style. So for everybody watching, skills are the things that your character can do. So fight, move, study, survive, talk, and tinker. And your styles are about how your character approaches doing those things. So boldly, carefully, cleverly, forcefully, quietly, or swiftly. So you're looking for a 12, I believe, on 2 dice.
There we go. Ooh, that's 1.
That's 1 success. That is enough. So you don't generate any momentum, unfortunately, from that. But you know, as you're all having this conversation, a little bit more about the flooded district. So obviously, the flooded district was once the financial district in Dunwall. Before the banks of the Wrenhaven burst and flooded the area, people fled, and the place is now in quarantine. Walls of light, which are powered by whale oil, these huge kind of electrified areas that you cannot pass through, keep all entrances sealed off. Only the guards can kind of go in and out, and every now and then you might get a group of guards or a group of tall boys, which are guards in these big mechanical suits, might go through to try and wipe out some of the weepers that are there. Rat plague, as you're coming off the very tail end of that now. This area was used a lot to dump some of those bodies of the plague victims, and often where some people may have found themselves after being infected, and are known as weepers. These mindless creatures that, while still resemble humans, have got none of the qualities that you would expect, that attack on sight and often are many within crowded buildings. You also know that this is, especially as some of you perhaps roll with some of the criminal class here, this is also the home of the Whalers, another one of Dunwall's factions, known for being assassins, known for rumors of their supernatural abilities, making them particularly dangerous foes should you cross them. But you also know this district was wealthy, and very soon after the flooding, many people, the criminal class, even some of the upper middle class, risked their lives to enter the district to try and clear it out, take the coin and the gold from the banks and the jewels, anything that they could. And now the place is heavily fortified, almost impossible to get into. That is roughly what you know. That's what most people would probably know about this district. And that is where you are heading to search out for these Bottle Street gang members. Is there any kind of preparations that you'd be thinking of doing at this point in order to prepare for that? So you could perhaps go and speak to the Bottle Street gang if you wanted. You are in the distillery district where they operate. They're not difficult to find. If you wanted to purchase anything in preparation, that's also possible.
I know what I would do, but what Zebby's going to do is flirt with the cute girl sitting on the bar. And that is her preparation.
Okay. So, Hellwise, you have I need to make sure I pronounce your character's name correctly here. Zevi, flirting with you as you're sat on the bar.
Oh, she finds it totally amusing, and she'll go back and forth with Zevi. But she's also playing a little bit aloof because she loves to drive people crazy. It's one of her favorite pastimes. So if you're flirting with her and showing her attention, she's going to be a little bit distracted, but give you enough to keep you coming back. But she's also looking for anybody who looks like they're a little bit out of line because she's really irking to punch somebody right now. Just like, yeah, I need it.
Zevi's doing the same thing because she also loves to mess with people. So I imagine there's a lot of banter going back and forth.
We're gonna be best friends. Oh my gosh. No, yeah, no. It's just beautiful. Eventually, though, because Hellwise is very easily distractible. She's very like one thing then the other. I feel like at some point she ends up like standing up on the bar because she wants to get a better view of the bar. And sitting is just so boring, especially like sitting on something and then standing on the floor isn't normal. So she's just kind of all over the place, but she's still like maintaining like communication with Zevi.
Okay, so that's what you're doing. You're both doing in preparation of this. What are Tarquin and Hardy doing at this moment? Is there anything they're discussing? Is there anything they would like to go and do?
Hardy's just staring over at these two, like flirt, attacking each other, just like trying to score flirt points, and he just sighs and gets up his stretches. Is this wall of light? Is it just covering people from walking in? Could you come in on the water side?
So the actual district itself is properly quarantined off, as in there have been kind of makeshift walls set up around the outer borders. The walls of light themselves, if you imagine like a gateway, they're kind of electrified, and it's almost like having an electric field.
Sure.
They are pretty powerful. People are known perhaps sometimes to take rats and to dispose of them, throw them at the wall of light. Anything that hits it is often disintegrated upon impact. But they are run from whale oil canisters, which can eventually be depleted or removed.
Right.
But it's very difficult to do because those areas are generally the most heavily controlled by guards.
Sure.
By the watch.
Okay. Well, then I might consider hitting up my watch captain friend who's on the Orion to see if he knows any way in, if he knows anyone to bribe, if he knows any place where they've been changing out a lot of whale oil because they use more of it or something. I don't know, like any kind of information I can get from him.
Okay, so that's going to be a destination you're all going to be heading at some point then. And how about Tarquin?
I think Tarquin at this point is like assembled a group. Mostly he's people watching. He's trying to get sort of, obviously he kind of knows what's going on with Zevi and Hellwise. But yeah, he's just, don't think he's going to prep anything too much just yet.
Okay. So I imagine then you are all heading off to go and speak to Hardy's watch captain contact in the hopes that perhaps he can be bribed or persuaded to give you some more information. And as you all way to leave the Oathbreaker to head out this way with the idea of coin and reward in the back of your mind, Sebastian, you come through the door as you enter the tavern and almost walk straight into a group of people, some of whom you might know. Who you know here is completely up to you, but this group of 4 people are just walking out as you are just coming in.
Okay. So as he walks in and nearly steps into the group, he goes, "Oh, my apologies. Good to see you all. But why the rush?
I know him. We've matched on whatever the whale Steam equivalent of Tinder is in this world. Like there's like a message board somewhere where you just post a drawing of yourself and you can come back and see if anyone's like made a little check mark on it or something. So we've matched on this Tinder a couple times. So I know him. I've torn a few checks out of his posted drawing.
Oh,
So yeah, perhaps there
how's
was
it going?
like a.
This is gonna be the horny episode. We're also gonna flirt. Nothing's gonna get done. We're just gonna flirt in a bar for 3 hours. You're welcome.
Yeah. He'll kind of like straighten up his kind of coat that looks a little too stiff on him at times. But he's gonna.
It's like a
Hardy,
cardboard box.
Yeah. Not quite, but definitely it looks sturdy.
Good to see you as well.
I imagine that perhaps, Sebastian, you have just finished your shift, or perhaps it's a day off or something as you come into the tavern.
Yeah. Where are you all heading?
Talk to a captain, a friend of mine. Well, watch commander. I like to call him a captain. You want to come along?
Sure, I got nothing to do.
I just kind of look over. It's not my mission, so I just kind of glance over at the person who set it up, and I'm like, oh, is that all right?
The more the merrier, I guess.
You're the man, more the merrier.
Okay, and you do, this is what you do. You trail the streets of Dunwall towards the banks of the Wren Haven. Where is this guard captain, and what is his name?
So, guard captain's name is Lieutenant Arlo Bradford, and Arlo runs the watch. So he is the one that is scheduling everyone to do the smaller duties around the ship. While the ship is docked, they'd be the guys, checking people as they walk onto the ship, and they'd be the guys in the crow's nest watching over the ship, right? So he runs that, and I imagine he'd either be in his office or he'd actually on watch during this point. Might be more fun narratively to say he's on watch.
Yeah, I think he is definitely on watch. So he's not one of the city watch of Dunwall. He is more kind of employed by whoever it is that owns the ship, the Orion, which is a merchant vessel, which quite often sails the banks of the Wren Haven, bringing goods to and fro. And you do quite easily spot Bradford. As he's standing there, he appears to be chatting to a few of his other guardsmen, perhaps in some sort of briefing as he directs them somewhere. And as he kind of looks around and begins to pace, he spots you, even from kind of further down the street. And kind of, you see his eyes narrow as he spots you with 4 other people, and kind of does that very slow walk that is intentional towards you, but almost just, he's in no rush to get to you. But it's very clear that this watch commander of the ship is making his way towards you, kind of with his hands folded in behind his back.
Yeah, he's super into me, but he never likes my friends. All my friends are just trouble. He knows it as I'm walking up. Like, he's like, yeah, he's hot, but god damn, he is a pain in my ass. And yeah, I'm used to it. I just kind of wave, hey, Lieutenant.
And I imagine that he is quite, when he's on duty, quite clipped and very proper, almost. I imagine it's like night and day between him off shift and him on. And he still stands, very tall, straight up. Hardy.
Lieutenant.
And friends, I see.
Yeah, well, I know some of them. I know that one. Anyways, listen, we're here. We got some business to discuss. You're a businessman. Well, you work for a businessman. Hopefully you can help us out.
He takes a deep breath in, and you see he kind of looks over to where some of the other guards are just doing a patrol on the deck of the ship, and he's like, I'm at work, Hardy. What is it that you want?
Hey, look, I know. I'm at work too. I'm working here. I'm working with
Every
my
time
friends.
you show up with your friends that I have never seen you with before, You always end up in trouble. There is only so far I can pull you out of your messes.
Look, first of all, you know I'm worth it. And second of all, we're not here for trouble. We're here trying to help. We're trying to solve some mysteries. Mysteries that you, of course, don't have time for with your big plans and your big ship and your big cargo. We're looking out for the little people here, Arlo.
Isn't that what the
Just
City
trying to
Watch is for, Hardy? They are the ones that solve the mysteries.
Yeah, but they only take care of the big property, the big money. We're trying to help the little people, Arlo. Look, I see so many people struggle. I see so many people can't put food on the table, and it hurts me, Arlo. It hurts my heart, and I just want to see what I can do to help.
I truly wish I believed that you were that much of a charitable person, Hardy, but I think I know you a bit better than that. And you see there's a coy smile at the edge of his lips as he's both insulting you and flirting with you.
Right, that's pretty much our dynamic, yes. All right, so I'll take it. I'll smile. I'll give him, he needs to have the leg up because he's helping me. I understand that. So I'll just yeah, you got me.
This is going to cost you, Hardy. Either that or you better have something particularly interesting to tell me about what's going on in this city, because there is only so much I can extend my help. The City Watch here are already fairly suspicious about some of us on these merchant ships doing watches here. What have you and your friends got planned?
I kind of lean in, look to either side. Look, we're just going to slip into the Sunken District, and we're going to get some information and get back out quietly. No one will even know we're there. Okay? It's a little off the books, a little unofficial, helping people out. And anything I find out, I'm going to walk right back to you and tell you tonight.
He kind of leans in again with his head kind of almost next to yours, and you feel a hand on your shoulder. And he's like, you are going to get yourself killed, and I can't help you. As he kind of pats it, leans back, and kind of looks, he's like, good luck. Enjoy the Weepers. I'm sure you'll be one of them soon enough. And he kind of turns and begins to just walk away.
And I would just kind of quickly just kind of grab his shoulder real quick. Like, Lieutenant, I know you're busy. I appreciate the info and everything, but the only thing is that we were wondering if you know a way in, or if you know a place where we might look where it's not quite as guarded as anywhere else, or maybe they've had some trouble with the walls. Any little bit of info you can give us would be really great. Then we're out of your hair.
He kind of sighs and he turns to look at you. He's like, you're assuming that I know anything about how to get into the flooded district because I sail the banks of the Wren Haven. Talk
You
about
always know
stereotypes.
Well, you're out here, you're observant. You got a good eye.
How are you trying to convince him here? So you're gonna be using your talk skill.
Yeah,
but what style are
flirting.
you kind of going for? Are you going for boldly?
I'm flirting the hell out of him. Yeah, yes,
Okay.
yes. I'm definitely going boldly because I'm basically
Boldly,
being
then.
like, we will do it if you help me.
So this is going to be a talk boldly test then. It's going to be difficulty 2.
Okay. All right. So I rolled 2 20s, right? And my
Two
talk
D20s.
is 4 and my boldly is 4. So that's not great. So let's see.
Do you have any focuses here that might be useful?
No, unless we're swimming.
Not yet, you're not.
Or talking about a ship or natural philosophy. And I don't think any of them come into play with what I'm trying right now. I mean, maybe natural philosophy, maybe, but not really. Hang on, I'm trying very hard to roll my dice. All right, here we go. 2. I rolled a 15 and a 13.
So you're looking for an 8, I believe?
Yeah. So not those.
He looks at you and his face softens a little bit and he's like, I'm sorry, but I really can't help you here. I don't know what else you want me to tell you. The whole place is guarded by the Watch. The whole place is covered in walls of light and barricades. I'm not sure that there is a sensible way in, and even if there is, you've then got to get out again. So forgive me if I don't send you and your friends to your death. Now, go before I end up having to arrest you for loitering or something. And he genuinely looks a little bit sorry, but you can kind of tell that he's upset that he can't help you, but you can see the look in his face that he really doesn't want to help you. Mostly
right, he can't, but he's happy he can't because he knows I'll die. Right,
basically,
okay, right.
it's no secret that the flooded district is dangerous and difficult to get into, and he goes back seemingly to patrol.
Okay. All right, well, that's fair. I mean, I'm a little bummed I drug these people I kind of known I'm trying to impress an hour out of the way down to the docks to learn nothing. But I kind of play it off, and I'm like, yeah, okay, well, we confirmed what we knew. We had to confirm what we were told because you can't just trust one person in a bar. God, people.
So you're telling me we walked all the way over here, we didn't get to hit anything, didn't get to light anything on fire, and we just know what we know from before? And she raises her eyebrows and looks at you.
As you say that, Hardy just kind of looks up and he sees two drunken sods walking along the boardwalk towards us, and he just kind of looks at him. He's like, "Oi!" And he points over at you, and he's like, "Hey, check her out." And then one of them says the most loudest thing, just like a rude, ignorant thing, and you just kind of there, go ahead, deck him.
And they are. These two gentlemen appear to have had a bit too much to drink. And you can see they're actually arguing with each other when you shout across over something. It sounds like they're arguing over perhaps work or money. And it already looks like as you shout that they are in the beginning stages, at least you would notice this Hellwise, of what would probably turn into a fight as they're kind of yelling at each other. And then you call, Hardy, you call out and they kind of stop, say the thing. You see one of them grab the other by the front of his waistcoat and kind of shove him and starts shouting drunkenly at him for what he said to you. And you see this fight begin.
I'm gonna turn and
something.
Go.
So Zevi would just grab her scalpel and be like, "Hey, nobody makes lewd comments to her except me."
She's gonna raise both of her hands and be like, "Oh my goodness, I can handle this myself." And she's gonna run and go directly into the middle of the fight. And she would like to fight the person who pushed the other person. She doesn't want to fight the one who said the nasty thing. She wants to fight the other one.
Okay. But yeah, so as you get over, this other guy's gone to the ground. He's got back up and you're literally getting into the middle of these two guys fighting. So I'll let you take the first turn here. Let me just grab.
Yes.
There we go.
Also, I would like to take things from their pockets if I win. If I can.
Okay. Go ahead. There are two of them. So you're going for the one who's pushed the guy who shouted at you. So go ahead and so you're going to be making a fight test. How are you fighting? So fight is your skill, but what style are you using for this?
Probably. Remind me what the difference between boldly and forcefully is.
So boldly, I imagine, would be more kind of making a display of it, like a brash action, whereas forcefully, you're probably fighting more with intent.
Oh yeah, no,
you
it's
are
boldly.
Kind of boldly. Okay, go ahead and make a fight boldly test then, please.
And it's still oh wow, stuttering. It's still 2d20s, correct?
2d20, yeah. And you're looking at difficulty 1. And are you just fighting with your fists here?
Oh yeah, I do have brass knuckles though.
Okay, I mean you can go ahead and use the brass knuckles if you like.
Oh, Raggy. Okay, so with boldly fight, that's a 12, and I did not pass either of those. Wait, no.
Okay.
If I match it, do I win?
Yeah.
Okay, I matched one.
Okay, let me have a look and just find your brass knuckles in here. Unless you've got written down how much damage they deal.
Oh, I do not.
That's okay. I will go ahead and grab it. Give me 1 second. So, So this is actually a contest, so they are rolling against us. So just like Star Trek, he is going to make a test. And that is only one success. So actually, you still win because you're the active character. And then the base here for the melee attack is going to be so it's difficulty 1. And then he is a minor character, which means depending on how much you deal, you should be able to either kill him or knock him out if you wish. But killing him will add to chaos.
I just want to knock him out.
Just want to knock him out.
They haven't, yeah, and steal his stuff.
In which case, since you've got your brass knuckles, it's going to be a damage value of 2. So you go ahead and describe to me, what do you do in this moment? As you get into the middle of these 2 drunk guys who were fighting about work and coin, and are now fighting about what was said to you.
Oh, I'm just in it for the fight. I really don't care what it's about. But I am going to grab the one that I'm gonna punch by like the collar and like just wail into him and then turn around and like flash a huge smile to my friends. Yeah. And then if the other one comes back, I'll just keep pushing him down because he's drunk enough to just, like stay there.
And this guy goes down hard, like you deck him and he hits the floor. And the other one kind of picks himself up, kind of looks around, sees you, sees the other 4 of your friends further back, and just kind of drunkenly gets up and starts running down the street away from you.
And she kind of calls out and goes like, "Bye, honey," and like turns around and starts digging through the other guy's pockets just real quickly. She's not like thoroughly doing it, just grabbing and going.
You dig through the pockets, you find
Casual mugging.
You find some cigarettes, essentially some tobacco that's kind of been half used up. You find a couple of coins, barely anything at all. It looks like this gentleman perhaps spent his day's money in the pub before this. Otherwise, nothing else really of note.
Perfect. I'll grab it, and then I'm not even gonna wait for them. I'm just gonna start walking and assume that they're gonna follow.
Yeah, I'm walking right behind you. I'm amused.
Lead over to Tarkin and be like, "Hey, you've had that like love emotion thing before, right? What's that feel like?"
Dangerous, usually.
Okay, yeah, I think I've got that right now.
Yeah, I can see that.
So as you guys kind of join up, because Jordan, you did roll a 20, which means a complication, just like in our other 2d20 games. And as you kind of congregate back together, perhaps to discuss where you go from here, you start hearing footsteps, shouts, calling, as from further up the street where you were, several of the city watch come running around the corner.
Crap. I look over to our friends who just mugged this guy, and I put up my fingers for a cigarette. Like, can I have a cigarette?
Oh yeah, she hands you one and then like rolls her eyes as like they come running towards them.
Yeah, exactly. We're just kind of like standing here looking casual,
They still come running around, and you see following behind them, not quite as quick, the drunken man that had run off earlier. You can see that there are a couple of the kind of lower guard here, and a couple of officers who come round.
Shit.
They are pretty well.
Yeah, you go call the cops. Oh no, we called the cops. Everyone runs.
Yeah. They are well decked out. They are wearing their standard uniform, their armored coats and the helmets, and all of them brandishing swords. There are about 8 guards here. You know that this area of the Wrenhaven is normally pretty well covered because you've got merchant ships here, even though a lot of them employ their own protection.
We're sober, right? We're all sober. relatively.
Oh, hell no.
I'm
Oh
not.
no! Fuck! I was gonna try and play it off like, no, they're just two drunk idiots. But if we're all also drunk idiots, I'm not sure what to do.
You're
now.
all fairly sober, unless anyone has
Yeah.
particularly gone to town in the pub beforehand. But you do have some City Watch Guard coming towards you with swords brandished. There are about 8 of them.
Okay. Well, the only thing you always do when the police point their swords at you is not run. So no. So if like no one run, play it cool, guys. Play it cool. We got this. We got this. This guy's like drunk and stumbling, right? Like they are plastered compared to what.
It is worth noting that the City Watch are not particularly nice, nor are they particularly fair. And if you are also looking at potentially visiting a location where there are plenty of them, what would you all like to do? Is you see them coming towards you. They're still a little bit of a distance away, so if you wanted to try and run, you could all attempt that. Or you can try and stay and hope that perhaps you can talk your way out of it.
I think Zevi's gonna sink into the shadows.
Yeah, I was like, I think Hellwise is gonna run. She ain't messing with this.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Tarquin's gonna try and bolt probably.
Are we by the docks? Are we by water?
You are, but you're not far off the banks of the Wrenhaven, but also the Wrenhaven is filled with hagfish.
Don't want that. Okay, gross. I was going to swim with my swimming ability, but no, I will also just simply run. The real ability to hide the shadows. I'll just run. I'm 19. I could run for a lot. That is my real ability here. I will run.
So is swimming the new horse riding?
Swimming is the new horse riding at any opportunity. I will swim.
So I'm going to use.
What absurd skill!
I mean, it's not massively absurd for going to the flooded district.
No, you guys are lucky I didn't like pick archaeology. I'll be like, we have to go look at maps for 4 hours before we do anything.
So I'm going to use what we call a progress track. So you can use this for sensitive stealth stuff. It's also what you use in terms of stress track. But for this one, it's going to be a progress of trying to outrun the City Watch here. And hopefully slip back into the shadows so that you can continue on to the flooded district.
Nice.
So the one thing I will ask, who is trying to be sneaky about slipping away and who is just outright bolting for it? So he's going for...
Try and be sneaky.
Sneak.
Yeah. Same.
Okay.
Oh, it's a game. I'm loud.
I'm just running as fast as I can, expecting to outrun them.
How about you, Sebastian? Because you kind of tagged along with this group, not really knowing. Yeah. I'm assuming they've explained what it is you're planning to do, which is take up some work for the Bottle Street gang in finding out what happened to their missing gang members. But you encountered the City Watch now a little bit sooner than I think perhaps you'd expected. So
yeah, how many people have hit people walking out of a bar as they're heading in, and they've been like, "Hey, you want to come join us on a thing?" And like half an hour later, they're being arrested. This has happened very frequently.
Yeah, he's definitely he's not very sneaky, so he's gonna bolt, just going shit, just the entire time.
Okay, and that is what you do. So those of you who are sneaking away, can you go ahead and make me? This is going to be a move, and I'm going to go for here swiftly test at difficulty 1, and that is just to very quickly and inconspicuously try and distance yourself and put it in the shadows somewhere.
Okay, so that's move and quietly, and then
So moving swiftly.
or moving swiftly. Okay,
Yeah.
I have a 6 in stealth as a focus. How does that work here?
So that works kind of similar to how it did in Star Trek. If your dice roll 6 or under, you get 2 successes.
Gotcha. Okay. So my target is 5 and 4, so 9. Oh, wrong window. There we go.
Okay, so that is 2
9,
successes.
2 successes. None of them were below my focus, though.
Okay, however, that does net you a point of momentum in your momentum pool, so you now have one there. How did Tarquin do?
I got 1 success.
One success. That is enough.
Cool.
So both you and Zevi managed to distance from the group. You hear the guards coming first, and manage to slip into one of the side streets off here. Where are you going? Are you staying in the side streets? Are you going to try and climb up to get to one of the lower rooftops to get out of sight? It's entirely up to you.
Yeah, I'll probably like scramble up to a little bit of a rooftop. I'm actually going to, if I think I'm hidden, I'm going to take out my crossbow and just keep it trained on the watch as they're chasing after the rest of the people. Just in
Okay,
case.
so you manage to, there's like a large dumpster there, and you manage to kind of, luckily the lid is closed, and you manage to use it as a footing and climb up onto kind of an outjutting of one of the side buildings and sit up there, crossbow ready. Where is Zevi going?
She'll follow, so she'll sort of do the same thing, scrambling up. And I think I forgot to mention what she's wearing, what she looks like. So you've got this little short, skinny girl trying to climb up the side of a building in combat boots, shorts, and a cropped tank top. So it probably looks pretty comical if anybody actually could see it. But she's following Tarkin up to the roof.
Okay, so you both make it up there on this kind of, it's not so much a roof, like it looks like there's like a side building off of this, the building that you're at, which you managed to get up on. There's a lot of kind of warehouses over on this area, so it's kind of, you managed to get up there with very little noise and can see what's going on. Is everyone else just trying to make a bolt for it?
Yeah, I'm just trying to run as fast as I can. I'm going to try and like run past the Orion where it's docked, right? Because like literally 20 minutes ago, he was like, "You're just going to be doomed. This is all going to go wrong." And I just want to like, it'd be great if I could sprint past him on the ship, like running from 6 cops as I'm going.
Okay, so are you trying to stick together? Or are you trying to run towards, so you're not trying to like separate out and all go in different directions?
Well, I mean, like, I think we have to kind of split up a little bit, but we have to at least go in the same direction or keep eyes on each other, because if we get lost, we're just, I mean, it's like we have cell phones. Like, we won't see each other again tonight. We did not plan to meet somewhere if we got separated, so we have to keep each other in eyesight.
Okay, in which case then, I'm going to ask for somebody to lead this and for everyone else to assist as you try and basically outrun the guards and get far enough ahead that you can slip down a side alley or into a building and not be noticed. Who would like to, I'm guessing then that Hardy's going to be leading this.
Well, who ran first? Because I followed someone.
So
One
would
of us
that
ran
be...
away first.
Who would run first out of Sebastian and Hellwise? Hellwise. Okay. So then you are leading the test. You're leading the test. So I'm going to say for this one, you're going to be doing and move swiftly here.
Oh man. Okay.
So it's going to be difficulty 2. And that also goes the same for Sebastian and for Hardy. You're also going to be rolling move swiftly. And I would, obviously you're rolling 1d20 because you're assisting. And then Jordan, you're going to be rolling 2d20. You have got a point of momentum if you'd like to buy an extra dice.
Oh my goodness. If that's cool, I would love to, because I don't have any in those stats.
You might as well, because I mean, like, or we're just going to play, we're on a jail cell for the next 2 hours. So I think you might want to use it.
I would love to use that, please.
Okay, so that uses up that momentum, which buys you an extra d20 to roll. So go ahead and roll those 3.
Okay, so I had to beat an 8.
So you've got 1 success there.
Nice.
And then,
I rolled 7 to help, rolled a 6 to help. Nice.
Okay, so that's 3 successes in total. It's 1 more than you needed. So there's you've got that point of momentum back.
Hot.
As and you get a score there on the progress track as you bolt first, Hellwise. And I imagine that perhaps round past the boat, or along where the boat is a good way to go as you head up the bank and then turn off down one of the side streets. And Hardy and Sebastian, you follow directly afterwards as you realize that Hellwise has already made a run for it. And Hardy, you do spot
Arlo?
you do spot Arlo, as you don't know if he's noticed you as such, but he's definitely noticed the guard coming past. But he is not a member of the City Watch. He is a private guard on this ship, and therefore does not get involved and just watches.
Doesn't get paid for that. Yep.
Nope, does not get paid for that, and would also probably end up in jail too.
Right, exactly,
As you run down side streets to get away from the watch, and eventually you can hear them shouting further off in the distance as they spread out, but for the most part, you lose their trail.
Awesome.
For the sake of brevity, we'll say that over the next kind of hour, you all manage to kind of retrace back and eventually regroup. A little bit further away from the docks, away from the scene of Hellwise's crime. What do you wish to do? Are you going to be heading towards the flooded district to kind of scope it out at this point? Is there other things that you'd like to do?
Clearly, the answer we got is that we have to swim under this light wall. That is what I heard. That is what I clearly heard, that the wall goes around the entire place and the only way in is to swim under it. It's the only way in.
You won't be able to quite swim under it. So there is a section of this district that obviously is on the banks of the Wrenhaven, because the Wrenhaven splits across Dunwall.
Yeah.
But aside from trying to go through an old sewer system, which probably isn't very viable, you would know, trying to get in through swimming is a little bit difficult for the flooded district.
That's right. Okay.
Your option is
balloons. Right? Balloon. Big balloons. We just full. Okay, like I'm out of ideas. I had two. Swimming in balloons. That's all I got. I don't hear you jumping in with ideas. Let's turn everyone all pissed off.
We could put our way in.
We can what? Wait. We can what? We can talk our way in?
No. Ew. Punch. And she's like cleaning her brass knuckles.
We can punch your way in.
As you get closer towards the flooded district, you can, keeping to the shadows and the alleyways, the streets, you can hear out in the distance the sound of voices, guards on patrol. You hear the undeniable sound of metal against brickwork as the tall boys that are here somewhere, occasionally you might see their light flash across the side of a building as they patrol the area. As you get closer and closer towards the flooded district and night has begun to fall.
I think we need to do some recon. I think we need to scope it out a bit. No. Yeah, not the most interesting.
Oh, recon is the worst. All right, whatever. I hate recon. I hate just sitting and watching and nothing happening. Whatever. What are we gonna do? What are we gonna do?
So what would you like to recon?
I'd like to get up somewhere high if I can, and use my spyglass and just basically check around to see if I can spot any weaknesses in any of the patrols. Like
I have a spyglass too. We're spyglass buddies.
Amazing.
Yay!
Okay, so you can absolutely get up on one of the buildings as you scramble up the side onto a higher roof. I imagine perhaps there's a ladder that goes up the side of an escape, and you look through your eyeglass. And ahead of you, you can see one of the gates that enters the flooded district. It's easily recognizable by the wall of light that stands in the center, For a moment, it looks like an open passageway before you can see the electrical field and the current spark, fueled by whale oil. You can see here, just over the tops of some of the barricades that were made to keep people out of the district, that rise high into the sky, almost as tall as some of the buildings themselves, if not taller. You can spot just beyond that the flooded district proper, the hollowed out buildings. You can just spot the moon reflecting off the light of the water in some areas. And down below, by that gate and wall of light, you see a good few dozen guardsmen, or city watch, as well as about 3 tall boys that are patrolling that area by the gate. And I've just been told that the wonderful Chaos Chorus here has unlocked 2 more boons for the team. So, let's see. Max has got one, so I'm gonna give one here to Jordan for getting away with that fight. And I'm also gonna go ahead and give one to Darby for managing to slip into the shadows and get that crossbow out, ready for that fight. What are you looking for up here, Tarquin?
I'm looking for opportunities. I'm looking for just sort of seeing how the movements are, seeing where people are spread out, getting an eye on the patrols. Any opportunities to slide in, and also anything that could be used as a distraction if we wanted to go that route.
Okay, go ahead, make me I guess it's going to be a study test, but you tell me what kind of style you're using as you look through this spyglass, trying to assess the situation.
I kind of want to do study cleverly and see if there's any interesting ways that I can see about potentially getting through here. Things that defenses that they may not have thought about bolstering, just real sneaky ways of getting in.
Yeah, go ahead, make that test.
Can I help with my own spyglass and study carefully? Basically just sweep left and right and give any info I have as if I'm in a crow's nest back on the ship?
Yeah, I'll let you assist.
Nice.
As you are very quickly joined by Hardy, who sets up, I get perhaps on a roof next one over, also looking through his spyglass.
Yep.
So yeah, go ahead. You're going to be rolling 2d20 there, Darby, and then I'm going to be rolling 1d20 for Hardy.
Cool.
I roll a 14.
I have a question.
Oh no. Don't forget, you do have a void point if you would like to spend it to re-roll your dice.
I will do that. I think I will do that.
So you spend the void points. So void points are similar to determination in Star Trek. They are similar to momentum, but they're a lot more difficult to gain back, and they allow you to do some extra stuff, add some stuff to the story, or re-roll dice. So go ahead and re-roll as many dice as you'd like.
Okay, that's one success.
It's one success. And Hardy, was it a success for you too? You're muted.
Sorry, a 14 was not a success for me, sadly.
No. You see pretty much what Tarquin sees in general. The guards, the tall boys, you can see the wall of light. Tarquin, you spot something. You know how to free run. You have roamed this city from more than just its streets, and you can spot that there is perhaps a way, not quite where the wall of light is, but there's a kind of like an almost like a gated area. So you've got this wall of light in the center. There's a small guard's house you can see, and it looks like you might, if you could time it right and avoid the gaze of some of the guard, perhaps get up on the wall into that smaller compound. It'd be pretty impossible to get all 5 of you to do that, but if one or two of you could get in, it might be possible to disable the wall of light or find a way to get the rest of your companions in.
Okay. I'll relay this plan to Hardy. And what do you think?
Sounds like a plan.
So, down on the streets, as the two with the spyglasses hatch a plan above. What is everyone else doing? What is Sebastian doing at this point?
At this point, Sebastian is still kind of coming to terms with the fact that he had to just run for a second to get away from the guards. Looking mostly confused, but at this point has kind of resolved himself to just go along with it and see what happens at this point, because it's probably the most interesting thing that's come around in a little bit.
Okay. You do know, however, that you're potentially now heading into the flooded district, a dangerous place that's quarantined off. And if the guards catch you, who knows whether that's worse than running into a weeper once you get past the quarantine borders. Do you have any thoughts about his wife or his kid? Like, where is he at with this? Is he thinking that this is a good, like, the money that could come from this, the elixir, could be good at keeping them safe from, you're essentially in the tail end of the rat plague here. So is this something that he's doing for them in the hopes of money? Is this something that, has he got a secret thing for adventure that he's kind of living out here?
I would say it's probably a combination of both of those. He knows he wants to do what he can to provide for his family, so the money potential is definitely very interesting. And then normally his nights are just full of bar fights and him just breaking them up. So this is a way to break that monotony a little bit.
Okay, so you're kind of preparing yourself for whatever might happen.
Yeah.
Okay, and how about Hellwise and Zevi? What are you guys doing? So a plan is being hatched up above. You can see that Sebastian is kind of taking some time to ready himself for this. What are the both of you doing?
I think Hellwise is probably she's probably crouched by one of the walls where they're up above her. And as fidgety and as very easily distractible as she is, she loves it when she has like a purpose. And so she's kind of had her fun. She's punched somebody, she's stolen their stuff. So she's kind of crouched down and she's just watching. She wants to see, like, are there animals out? Are they going in, like rats and little things like that? Like what, like kind of the same thing that they're doing up there, but from her perspective down here.
Yeah. So from where you are, you don't quite get that nice bird's eye view. What you can see is that wall of light. And you notice that there are rats on the streets of Dunwall. But you notice and would know, having been around Dunwall quite a bit, now you think about it, you've never seen a rat near a wall of light. They seem to avoid them entirely, which you suppose is probably quite sensible considering they disintegrate things that go through them.
And these rats are near there?
You don't see any rats up near there. There's a lot of human activity up there. You can see there are actually big spotlights that come down that illuminate that area, the whole front area, except for kind of one or two places where the light streams don't cross and you get some areas of deep shadow in contrast. But there's too much activity here for there to be rats or rat swarms in that case.
Cool.
How about Zevi?
Zevi's basically has not been able to punch or stab anything yet, and is very focused on the fact that she hasn't been able to inflict violence yet. And so she's just gonna like twirl a scalpel between her fingers for a little bit, and then after a couple minutes, just literally yell up, "Guys, I'm bored. Can we go yet?"
And you say that, and somewhere
I'm
further
also
off in the
bored.
distance, as you shout this conversation, Tarquin, you can see one of the guards who was just kind of pacing across the front, kind of stops, and you see his head turn. You don't hear what he says, but you can see him waving at somebody else. There's a brief exchange, and they both go back to pacing.
That's not good. That seems bad.
Everyone run! Scatter!
No, I'm going for it. I'm gonna try and take this free running path, I think, and point out to Hardy what I'm planning on doing.
All right.
In case you want, I mean.
Yeah, no, I can do this too. I can absolutely do it, and I can't. But, Hardy's like, yeah, I've run across rooftops. Yeah, sure. I'm with you. Let's go.
Great. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
All right.
So
Yeah.
one thing you will have noted is that to get to that path, you can pretty much use some of the shadows to your advantage that are created by these bright lights. There is, however, a single guard right in the way.
Oh.
He is shielded from view, you would guess, from the rest of them. Perhaps the tall boys might spot you if they happen to be patrolling in the area. They too have got lights on the front of their mechanical suits. You can see these long kind of bowed metal legs to where you can see the operators above in this horrific, and especially in the dark, this horrifying like metal contraption. But it might be possible to get somebody to silence that particular guard, allowing you to cross that path.
Would that someone need to be so is this guard like down at ground level that would see us
All of
getting
it ground level, yeah.
Great, okay.
Because there aren't any direct buildings from where you are. You'd have to come down and kind of come up alongside
Gotcha.
some of the others.
Gotcha.
Perhaps we could swim past them.
There's no water here yet.
Just gonna be like going
there
from
is a
water
very,
tower to water tower like a guppy, just across the rooftops.
Yeah, I'm just going to ask I'll just put it to the group and see who wants to help take this guard out.
Me.
Be my guest. Have at it.
Stealthy assassin.
Hellwise giggles a little bit and like lets them have it.
Okay.
We just gotta run him through you, basically. We just gotta run past the guy, get his attention, run him to you. And you got this? You'll handle this?
Yeah, I got no problem. You
All
don't
right.
even have to like run by. I can just go kill him.
Great.
Okay.
Bearing in
that
mind,
works
if
too.
you make lethal attacks, you do add to my chaos pool, so my threat pool.
I have a talent that lets me not do that, or at least one last for every kill.
Hardy's
So-
over here drawing a whole map. We're gonna run around this building, and X's are gonna be us, and you're gonna be over here a circle, and you're like, yeah, or I can just fucking kill him. I can just go there and just kill him. But draw your
Zemi's
map.
like-
Draw your map.
Zemi's
So,
like
what
motioning
is-
to
what
her
is the
body.
plan
She's like,
here?
what other distraction do you need?
I think
Zemi
she's just gonna
plans to
walk
go
up to him, shoot him in the head.
flirt with him and then get close and then cut some critical arteries.
Okay, so you head over. Are you trying to be stealthy and approaching? Because there are other guards around. So as you approach, while he is kind of off in his own, he's quite covered in terms of where people can see. But as you approach, you do have these bright lights, unless you're specifically trying to approach him from an angle that is less obvious.
I want to watch this.
Yeah.
I'm in a position where I can see this going down. I want to do this.
So Zemi's gonna look around and make sure like that he's not in direct line of sight of another guard, because she only wants to get his attention and not everyone else's attention. Is there an approach where she can do that?
There is. It's a little bit difficult though to do because you've got to get from where you are into position, and you have got these bright lights. So if you'd like to kind of approach that way, you can go ahead and make me. This is going to be a move quietly test. Oh, sorry, move
Okay,
carefully.
so that is,
Move carefully.
cool. That's 10 for me, and then I've got the focus and stealth.
Yeah. So this is it's going to
So I
be difficulty
need
2.
Okay, so I need a 10.
You have got a
less.
point of momentum in the
on-
bank if you want to buy dice.
Was gonna say yes, but then I saw the result and it doesn't matter. So I got fails on both.
Okay, so you do have a void point if you wish to spend it to re-roll, or you can go with the failure. It's up to you.
Yeah, I'll use the void point.
Okay,
To
go
re-roll
ahead,
that.
re-roll those dice.
This is like the one thing she's good at, so
Yeah.
much better.
Is that enough
so that's
to get
one
you 2
success.
successes? 1 success, even with your focus?
One success. If I can add the focus into it, then both would be a success.
So-
I'm not.
So
I've got
you
a
rolled under
5.
6. So you rolled under your focus, so that's 2 successes.
Oh, you're right. You're right. Yeah.
Yep.
So that is 2 successes. Sweet.
There you go.
Okay, so you managed to go around the corner, and you almost have to like double back on yourself to get here. And you do manage to kind of out of the shadows kind of approach this guard, hopefully having not been seen by any of the others. And he turns to you and says, "What are you doing here? This area is restricted. Leave now."
Oh, I'm sorry. I really got turned around. I guess I'm a little bit tipsy. I could really use somebody to help me find where I'm supposed to go. Could I don't suppose a strong, handsome guard like you could help me out?
He kind
She's
of
just,
gives you a very
slowly moving a little closer.
He gives you an odd look, and as you do get closer, he does put his hand on the hilt of his sword, and you can see he's wearing the same kind of armor with the coat and the helmet. Back that way, wherever you came from. And he kind of points. If you're trying to push this, you tell me what kind of like how are you doing this to try and are you trying to just be really nice? Are you trying to act really tipsy in the hopes that will help get him to help you? What's the approach?
She's trying to seduce him, essentially, and act tipsy, which honestly is not that hard, given that she's pretty much always drunk. So
She's been hitting a flask the whole time.
Yeah.
Every time
her-
we're like turned around and talking, she's over the corner hitting a flask.
Yeah,
So,
her
in which
flaw
case,
is high-functioning alcoholic, so...
I think this is going to be a talk cleverly, as you're trying to trick him into thinking that you are a bit tipsy and that you genuinely need some help.
Okay.
So go ahead and do that. I'm going to make this a contested roll as he tries to suss you out. So let me just
Okay.
grab his
So
stats
This
up
is
here.
also 10. And just throwing it out there, I have focus in medicine, which I think is 2 points.
Yes, if you roll 2 or under, that's going to be 2 successes.
Okay. I was to say, could I argue that with the acting sufficiently tipsy, knowing the effects of alcohol in the body?
Not
It's a
for
stretch,
this
but
one.
I had to ask.
Not for this one.
Okay, that's fair.
If you were trying to act
All right,
sick,
target's-
then maybe, but...
Ah, son of a gun.
So, he doesn't succeed either, I don't think. No.
That's something.
Did you also fail?
Yes. Very much so.
He kind of looks at you and he takes a deep breath. He's like, don't know what your problem is. Turn around, walk back to where you came from, or I'm going to have to arrest you. This district is out of bounds.
So Zebby just does a 360 instead of a 180 and goes like, turn around like this. And so she'll turn around a 360. She's like, oh, hey, you're in front of me again.
He raises an eyebrow and sighs, and he calls
I'm
something
relating
out
all of
over.
this
Calls
to the rest
something
of the
out
crew, by the way.
over. He calls over his shoulder, and suddenly you can see there's a bright light in your face that blinds you for a second, as one of the tall boys that is patrolling this huge, hulking contraption, where you can see further up, maybe 8 foot above the ground, possibly higher, is a man in this suit. You can see the long bowed metal legs. It's a terrifying sight as the helmet he's wearing has a bright light that shines on you as this thing looms down over you. Leave.
Okay. Like, well, I'm trying to leave, but I can't get any help. But he told me to turn around, and I turned around, and he's just standing in my way.
You can see now that there is other chatter. There's talk. You can hear the guards as a couple more who are inside that kind of inner area, just behind the wall of light, begin to peer over to see what's happening. And you can all see this from here.
Yeah.
What is everybody else doing at this point? Like, Sebastian, what are you doing? You can see this. You're down on the ground as well. Further back, still back down that alley.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Anything you'd like to do?
I don't have anything like range to try and help. He's oh my goodness. He's just gonna keep an eye and make sure that none of the guards are like gonna essentially surround the rest of the group, and just keep an eye out that way. Is probably the best thing he can do at the moment.
Cool. Right now, you don't see anyone making their way towards where you guys are because you haven't really revealed yourself as such, but you can see other guards making their way towards where this commotion is happening.
Okay.
Hellwise
So
isn't moving yet, but she's waiting for a cue from the others whether or not to intervene. But she's gonna let things happen as they are until she's told she's needed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Artie's just like up above, telling everyone what's happening, watching with his spyglass, and maybe looking around for like a bell tower or something we could cause a distraction with in case stuff goes down.
No bell towers here, unfortunately. And in terms of a distraction, there is litter and rubbish in the streets. You could try using that to an advantage to cause some noise or some commotion elsewhere, but right now a lot of attention
Fireworks
is being drawn.
factory, badly positioned water tower with a rusting support leg.
Fortunately, not here.
All right.
Rusting support legs may be in the actual district proper, but out here it's pretty much run down and empty.
Oh fuck. Okay.
The people,
All right.
do the guards seem like they're moving away from the sort of wall of light gateway?
Some of them are, but the other two
Okay.
tall boys are continuing their patrol, as well as a handful of the other guards.
Okay.
So you've got maybe 2 or 3 regular guardsmen and that one tall boy that have kind of come over to see what the commotion's all about.
And you said there's like trash and stuff around that could maybe cause a distraction.
Yeah, all of the buildings around here are kind of damaged, empty. They've long since been looted or had their contents removed. This is a pretty bleak place.
I wonder if I could see anything far enough away that would make a loud enough noise if I took a shot at it with my crossbow.
Well, you have a boon, which you can use if you wish to
Ooh.
create that object. If you can tell me
Absolutely.
what it is.
also, I have a plan.
Okay.
It's okay.
I mean, yeah, I'm happy to. Yeah, I'm happy to wait to see what the plan is.
It's up to you what you
She's
wish to
seen
do.
me
'Cause you can-
signal. She's got a plan.
Yeah. Let's see what this plan is. I'm here.
So Zevi, what are you doing now as these guards are coming along and they're basically telling you to move on and threatening to arrest you or worse?
Perfect. How many guards are approaching?
You have, there are now 3 regular guards and also this tall boy.
Perfect. So I think Zevi at this point, seeing that she's got enough attention, is going to sort of swing out with one of the scalpels. Not actually trying to necessarily hit anything. Hitting something is just a bonus. But swing out, yell something rude about the guard, and then take off in the opposite direction. Trying to lead the guards away.
Okay, I
Okay, her
want you to,
plan was to attack the police. Just FYI.
I want to see how well you manage this to see how many of them run after you. But go ahead, make me a fight boldly test, please, with a difficulty of, this is going to be 1. And since you're not actually trying to necessarily hit the guard, I'm not going to have him roll contested against you because it's not so much an attack as it is an attempt to kind of provoke.
Yeah. So it's 10 again, and oh, nice. 2 successes. Does
One's a
surgery
not-
count since I'm using scalpels?
It's not here, unfortunately, because you're using this to provoke than you are more to attack. So it's 2 successes. So you will gain another point of momentum. You've got 2 in the pool now. As you swing for the guard, and he quite easily dashes like backwards out of the way as you take off. And they begin running after you. At which point, let's have a look. The tall boy is going to act. Just gonna grab that. So they do have ranged attacks. So that's what this is going to be. And I'm going to go ahead and roll for them. So we are looking for, they're going to fight at this point. It's going to be swiftly because they see that and they act. And you all hear the compound bow go off, that horrible kind of ping as the projectile is fired. And that is going to be fight swiftly. So it's going to be 11. The dice didn't actually roll. I rolled them off the thing. That is no successes. As you see, you don't see the bolt. But what you do see is the blaze as the incendiary bolt that it fires lands just beside where you are running, literally just a little bit behind where you are. As the floor itself explodes into some flames.
I think everyone can hear, when the blank did you all get those, as she's running as fast as she can.
I am going to pay some chaos here to keep the initiative. And I'm going to have the city guard, who is following after you, also attempt to swing for you. He's got a sword in his hand, and he's running up. They're quite fit, and you feel him grab for like the back of your clothing in order to pull you onto the sword. This is going to be contested, however, so you do get to roll against this. Would you like to buy any dice? I am not buying any dice.
Yeah, we've got momentum.
You've got 2 points of momentum.
Yeah, I'm going to use that.
Okay,
use 1.
so just 1 dice, sure. So you're rolling 3 dice, I'm rolling 2, and this is going to be a fight forcefully. So I'm looking for a 12, a difficulty 1.
I got a 10.
You got a 10, is that a success?
That is
for
a
however,
success.
that is a success. Unfortunately, I am the active character, and that means that I win the contest. But I do get a complication, so we'll get back to that. But you feel this guard grab onto the back of your top, and as he does, he kind of pulls it, pulling you backwards as he tries to take a slash with his sword. That, unfortunately, you're not wearing the most protective clothing. That catches you across the side, just the tip. It doesn't look like he's trying to kill you, he's just trying to injure you. And that does 2 points of damage to you. So you should have a stress track that shows you how much stress you can take.
4, so I'm half dead.
Yeah. It's a pretty, even though it wasn't meant to be a lethal blow, it's pretty painful. It's right across the side as the sword catches you. It is your turn, however. Or anybody else's turn, should they wish to step in and do something.
Let's see what else I have to work with here. Am I able to might be a little awkward, but I have a question on which would be easier for Zebby to do. one, would it be easier to just pull free and run away? Or two, could she just kind of slide out of the shirt and keep running?
That's completely up to you. Either one is going to be. He doesn't have hold of you anymore. He kind of just pulled to try and basically stop you running so he could get a hit in.
Okay.
But
Yeah,
he's now up to you. So if you wanted to attack, you can. If you wanted to try and throw your scalpels as an attack, I'd let you do that. It's kind of up to you what you want to do.
Particularly, the plan was to distract and get away. Fighting seems like suicide, so I'm going to keep running.
Okay, so you pick yourself up, keep running. Go ahead, roll for me. This is going to be move and forcefully.
Okay. Move and forcefully. So that is a 9 or less. One success.
One success. Okay. You do manage to pick yourself up and start running. And thanks to that guard having a complication, he doesn't quite realize how quickly you've recovered from his blow. I mean, you are still bleeding profusely and it's painful, but he didn't expect you to get back up. And the other guards now...
drunkenness.
Yeah, the tall boy hasn't quite followed up quite as quick. It can afford to lag behind a bit because it's got bolts, essentially. But it does open up a small gap as the rest of the guards have clearly seen what's going on but have continued to patrol, while this other group that has converged are now following you.
Okay.
Would you like to hold the initiative, or would you like to pass it over to me?
I would like to hold the initiative.
Okay, so you've only got one momentum, current momentum pool, so you can spend a momentum and give me a point of chaos to hold the momentum.
Given the way my dice roll's been going, I'm going to say yeah. I want to hold the initiative, give myself every advantage here.
So, it is your turn. Who would like to take the next turn on your side? As you've now got this gap opening up, the one that you had intended to get by silencing the guard.
I'll take it. Yeah.
Okay, describe to me what you want to do.
So, seeing all this chaos happening, Tarquin is going to just slide down off from where he is, and just book it as fast as he can, as quietly as he can. Sort of doing some free running.
Are you prioritizing speed here, or are you prioritizing stealth?
I think stealth at the moment.
Okay, so you're going to be rolling here. Move quietly, and you can go ahead and use your free running focus on this as well. So if you roll under that focus, you get 2 successes.
I mean, it's not a very large focus, so we'll see.
Oh, nice.
Do you know what? That's pretty close, but it's still not under my focus of 1. So.
It is 2 successes, which is enough, however. As you book it across this area, you can see now the lights have shifted, so rather than being on that spot, they have been tilted upwards to follow where Zevi is running off, allowing very little light cast in this area, but just enough shadow to slip in and make your way up and over the side of that fencing, bringing you not quite so much behind the wall of light, but in this kind of guards area. Doesn't appear to be anyone up here now because the guards that were here came down to deal with the situation. We're going to drop out of initiative at this point to make things a little bit easier. But what would you like to
follow
do?
What they did? Like if I've been watching them, if I watch them do this little parkour thing, can I try and follow in their footsteps? Does it make it easier?
You can attempt to. I will lower the difficulty to 1 if you want to do that.
Yeah.
Are you prioritizing speed or stealth?
Speed.
Speed. So you're going to be doing move quickly then.
Oh yeah. All right. So move quickly. Move swiftly. Or
Quickly. Yes. Sorry.
Swiftly. Okay. Good. Good. That's why I just want to make sure because I have a little extra point in that one. All right. I got a 3 and a 17. So one of them is under my daily. It means I got 2 successes.
Okay.
So
You
did
go
you, it looks
ahead.
like.
You go ahead and you run across, following in Tarquin's footsteps. But you have gone for speed over stealth, where Tarquin was a little bit more careful, pausing just before the run just to check the way is clear. You just bolt for it.
Yeah.
And you swear out of the corner of your eye, you catch one of the guards, look over in that direction before turning back. But you are now standing here with Tarquin, I imagine kind of crouched low behind one of the more solid areas of this kind of upper raised area.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm 6'6", but as low as I can get, right?
What are you doing now? So you're up here, you can see there's that small guardhouse. It's barely more than like a small shed in size. And you can see you've got some electrical or like whale oil boxes where things would be wired in. It's up to you kind of what you want to do. Also, huge shout out to, I hope I say this correctly, Archetype Origins for the donation of £30 to create an NPC. Which I'm looking at now, and I very much like the idea of. So we'll be seeing them come up.
That should buy us a lot
here.
of electrical whale oil.
Yeah.
You are now here. Both of you two who are still on the street, Sebastian and Hellwise, you see the rest of your crew make the way up and over the side of this kind of raised, gated area into almost like the guards' compound. It's not really. It's very, very small. But they are there. What would you both like to do?
Did you have a plan? Or we just come in here to get a better look?
I have a plan. Don't worry.
Okay, because she had a plan, and that plan didn't go well. So it'd be nice to know about the plan before we do the plan.
A plan is coming, okay? We'll figure it out.
Sulks. Straight up sulks. Surly teenager.
I think Hellwise is probably gonna look. Oh, sorry. It's probably gonna look over to you actually, and kind of see what you want to do. She's very interested in what Zevi's doing, but she has full confidence that Zevi can handle it, like herself, like rock on. And so she doesn't feel the need to intervene in it, even though it's a little bit chaotic. So I think that Hellwise is probably going to look to you and see what you're comfortable with doing. 'Cause she's good with whatever. Like,
yeah. I think at this point, Sebastian's gonna kind of like look, watching the situation, and kind of agree that like Zevi probably has this. So he's just gonna look and say, "We should probably just go carefully. Just follow."
wait, you want me to go up and over?
We don't have to do that. We can try a different route.
Idea. You lead, I'll follow. And she draws her sword. And like stands up ready to go.
Okay. Sebastian's gonna try. Maybe not necessarily. He's not necessarily the stealthiest, so he might not try that route directly. But if he can, he wants to see if he can find a different route on the ground, or I don't know.
I mean, this is pretty much on. You can get here from the ground. You just have to kind of climb up this kind of gated upper area to get into that compound. But obviously that gives you more risk of being seen. But if that's what you want to do...
Sure. It seems like a tried and true route. So we'll go with it.
Okay, so I want you to use move, and I'm going to go here. How are you approaching this? You tell me which style you'd like to use.
Probably carefully. To wait that extra second if he needs to make sure that none of the guards are looking that way, because he knows it's going to be a little bit tougher for him to do so. I'll probably say carefully.
Sure, okay, this is going to be difficulty 2.
Sebastian just should have, as soon as she was like, I'm just going to follow whatever you do, shink, Sebastian should have just like mimicked putting a sword away. Like, that's the first thing he should have done. And then continued on.
All right.
I'm covering the back.
All right.
Would you like to buy any more dice by giving me some chaos?
I think I'm gonna have to. My target's a little low.
How many dice would you like?
Ooh. I'll take one more dice.
One more
Shake
dice,
hands
okay.
with the devil, a question right there. How many dice would you care for? How much trouble do you wish to purchase?
That
That fails.
is still 0 successes.
We're going to
You
jail.
begin making your way across, and the guards now following Zevi have long since they're following down the streets. The tall boy is just waiting at the edge, scanning across. And where there was shadow as the lights have been raised, you see the lights are moved back into their normal position. And just as you get to the edge of this thing, the light falls on you, and the guards begin to cry out. It's not like they're going on for a full attack, but you can see a few people, a couple of them are shouting over to you, telling you to stop, asking you who you are, as they start to make their approach.
I do have my boon.
You do have your boon. How would you like to use it?
Can so I would say he trips and falls and goes like ooh as he hits the ground, but maybe lands directly behind like a pile of rubble that is like decent enough to maybe partially cover him.
Okay. So I imagine that maybe there's some broken wood, there's some debris here that perhaps has come off some of the barricades that's just kind of been shoved over in this corner. And that's what happens. You trip, you land in this pile of God knows what, which obscures you from view as the guards come round, and you can hear the footsteps. And luckily, you've kind of slipped behind all of this and it's landed on top of you. And you can feel the weight as a few of these boards are pulled up from above you. And quickly the thump as they are like just dropped back down. Like, I swear I heard somebody over here. All right, let's get back on patrol while they seek out whoever that was. And you slowly hear the footsteps disappear. And Tarquin and Hardy, you can just about see this all go on through the slats that you're watching. And it's just luck that you weren't spotted too.
Was this the plan? Was this the plan?
This is part of the plan is in progress. Okay, it's moving. We've got a lot of moving parts. We'll get there. It's fine. Don't
They're
worry.
under the street. They're not moving.
We're not.
Zevi.
We're okay.
You are running. The tall boy Yukia has stopped following you, but there are still 3 guardsmen on their way. You turn down an alley, and it's darker than you'd expect. And suddenly, as you walk, it begins to brighten as you reach the end. But instead of a soft, warm light like that outside of a tavern or an estate, it's kind of grey. And as you turn down the next street, trying to double back, you can see that the floor looks different. The street is still there, but as you look over to the side, it is just the street. There's no buildings. There's just an endless abyss of nothing, of grey. And as you look ahead to see what's in front of you, you notice that the road disappears. Continues broken about 5 feet beneath and in front of where you are. And suddenly, you realize you are not in Dunwall. As you look around, you see a whale pass slowly in front of your vision, as real and as living and breathing as you'd heard them to be, as it swims through whatever this place is. Shattered shards of what looks like rock or stone seem to jut out at odd angles like twisted walkways. And then there is a voice, the voice of a young man, almost whispering in your ear. I have been watching you, Zevi. And
To
then
me?
almost out of
I thought you were
shadow.
talking to the others.
You walked
I'm
into
sorry, I
Silent
was
Hill. You're on
totally,
your own. Have fun.
Totally missed that.
Out of shadow, almost forming in front of your eyes, is a young man with dark eyes and dark hair, dressed in a black suit. He has an unnerving presence about him. There's something off. Just like the place you're standing in is no longer Dunwall, you get the sense that this man is not quite a man at all. And he kind of cocks his head at you. Very interesting. I have been watching your exploits. You are interesting. I see so many
You're
of the
kind of
things
a-
that happen.
You're kind of a creeper, aren't you?
Well, when all you can do is watch and you can barely meddle, what else can you do? No, I am interested in what it is you do and what you seek. Because I've seen what happened in the flooded district. It's the men you're looking for.
Yeah. Okay. Tell you what, we'll just gloss over that whole been watching what I do thing. And what exactly are you interested in and what I do?
Well, I'd like to see if you get any more interesting. I'd like to give you a gift.
And Zebi just sort of like cautiously goes, takes half a step back, but goes, I like gifts. Gifts are usually good.
You have to accept this gift, though. Perhaps it will
What is it?
Well, it's interesting, if that's the kind of thing that you like, and it might just help you get back to your friends. It would be such a shame if you never made it to the teller's bank to find out what happened. And there's kind of almost a smile, and you can tell he knows more than he's saying. As this man in the suit, you watch as he kind of appears in one place to your left and then disappears, and you feel him standing behind you as you stand on this shattered piece of road, seemingly floating in nothingness. Perhaps this is the void that so many talk about. Well, do you accept my gift?
Well, I mean, that's a neat trick, by the way. And she kind of points to where he was and then looks to where he is now. Well, I mean, I bet if I don't actually get down there to help them, all I did was distract the guards, probably only going to pay me half. I do like money. Sure, what the hell? Why not? I'll take the gift.
Enjoy, assassin. And suddenly, it's like your hand is burning, like the top of the back of your hand. It's like you've touched a hot stove, but from the inside out. As you see a bright...
a string of curses.
And as you look, there is a bright yellow burning like fire rippling through the top of the skin as a strange mark appears. When the pain subsides, it's like a tattoo inked onto the back of your hand. In front of you, you can see where the shattered walkway ended, almost a haze of white, like a doorway.
Okay. Is the guy still standing there? Is he kind of disappeared again?
He's gone.
Okay. I think Zevi will kind of look at the mark and then briefly hold her hand up and call it, be like, "Hey, I didn't know you're doing tattoos. Could I get it like a butterfly or something instead?" And no.
There
Okay.
is no
And
answer.
then she'll. I figured she'll just walk towards that sort of hazy, foggy doorway or portal.
Okay. You walk through and you find yourself standing in a small room lit by a few whale oil lamps. It's cramped, small. It is not where you were. You can see there are some papers. There is what appears to be a guard uniform hung up on some makeshift hooks in the wall. And outside you can hear whispering something about a plan.
Okay. I think Zevi will, first of all, kind of swear under her breath and be like, "Where the hell am I now?" But as soon as she spots that guard uniform, she's going to yoink that real quick and put it on, assuming it fits.
It's a little bit oversized in like the tops of the shoulders. It clearly was built to be a man's uniform. It's a lot broader across this way than you would expect, but you can put it on. It looks a bit odd since it doesn't have all the you haven't got any of the under armor that would normally go with this.
Okay. Cool. So
Just
she
wear a
she's
Navy
just gonna...
issue trench coat and like nothing, like boots and a trench coat, and like, yeah, I'm in uniform.
So I think she's gonna like make a point of like, standing up straighter and just try to make her shoulders as big as possible so that it's not so obvious that she's wearing this oversized uniform, and kind of go to the door of this room or the building, since I heard conversation outside the room, and just sort of kind of listen in and try to get an assessment of where I am and who it is that I need to deceive to get past them.
The voices sound familiar, and Tarquin and Hardy, you can hear movement in that little shed that is nearby, the little guard post.
Right. So,
What
now?
Do I know it's them?
You do. You recognize the voices, the whispering.
Perfect. I don't
Pulling out
want
my
to interrupt
crossbow.
what you're doing, but
I'm just pulling out the crossbow.
I'm like, what the? What are you doing?
Everything's fine.
Is this the plan? Is the crossbow called the plan?
You can hear all of this, by the way.
I am not quiet. I'm angry.
So Zevi at that point is just gonna like throw the door open and be like, "You're under arrest. You're not supposed to be here." And this deep a voice that she can do.
I will point the crossbow.
You throw the door open and shout this, and both Sebastian and Hellwise, you see the guards over the other side suddenly snap their attention in the direction of.
Wait, hold on a second.
I just let out a squeal like a 10-year-old boy. That's what I just let out when you threw that door open. It's like, yay! You know, I was like, myself against the wall.
In a not very small area, in an abandoned district. Yeah. Shouting is definitely going to draw the attention of anybody else here.
We are so bad at this.
We are terrible at this. Why did anyone hire us?
We're in eyesight, or like if I could tell that we were close to where we just came in, Zevi wouldn't do that.
Okay, yeah.
You were deeper into the district.
Yeah, you would know where this guardhouse is. So if you would like to retcon that, I will allow it.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I misunderstood where we were. I thought we were further in. So, not throwing open the door, but she will just slowly step out and be like, "What are you doing?" In the guard uniform.
Get the fuck in here.
See, the plan's perfect. It's working wonderfully. Everything's on track. This is not a problem.
I hate you all so much. I really do. I really hate you all. I've known you all for 2 days. and I've never hated. Like I hate my uncle more than you, but that's pretty much it.
I mean, that's
Zevi's
totally
like
fair.
holding her stomach, trying to laugh as quietly as possible. Probably going,
What now?
Ow, ow, as she's laughing.
Clan Masters, what now? You're in the same room. You want to pull out a map? You want to figure it out?
I've got this. Okay, just relax. Everything's gonna be fine.
Oh, I don't do relax, but whatever. I'll just stand. I'll stand very not relaxed next to the wall and wait.
I'm actually gonna. Right now, Tarquin is not even gonna question how Zevi is here. Like, it's great. There's bigger problems to worry about. Is there? I'm gonna see if in the opposite direction to this sort of little guard post, preferably away from the light wall, would I be able to use my my boon to say that there is something perhaps volatile or flammable that I could take a shot at?
I mean, there are some spare whale oil containers here that you can have with the boon that are used to replenish the wall of light, because if it runs out of whale oil, it stops working. Likewise, it stops working if you remove the whale oil. So there is a supply on hand here.
I mean, wow. Yeah, we're not over the wall of light yet, are we?
You're not quite behind it, but you can
Okay.
see some of the like the electrical, I guess, or the whale oil boxes that would be used
Okay.
to power it.
Okay. So yeah, my whole thing right now is getting our other two two team members up here. So yeah, if there's somewhere like far away, as far away as possible, where there's some discarded whale oil canisters, and I want to make some noise away from us.
Sure. In which case, because you're using your boon, I'll say that the other side of this, so there's kind of, you're not quite behind the wall of light, you're kind of on an area beside it, so you can come up and down here. You spot some whale oil canisters across the other side.
Oh, great.
So go ahead and take that shot then.
Do
it's going to be
I
difficult
see
to
this? Wait, do we see this, right? We see this. Don't worry, I've got a plan as he pulls out an explosive crossbow bolt. We do see this, I assume. I'm at least going to try and like do the sniper thing where I give him positioning and range to help in any way I can in this ridiculous plan.
Sure. It's not really going to have any bonus here because this is more based on Tarquin's skill with his crossbow. But you can go ahead and take that shot. It's difficulty 2.
Okay.
And this is probably going to be fight plus whichever style you think describes best what you're doing.
It's not careful.
No. Is it clever? Probably not.
It is not.
I mean, you can go for carefully if you're trying to really line up that shot to make sure that you actually ignite it rather than just shattering the jars.
I mean, literally, I only have points in cleverly, so everything else is just going to be the same.
We need a skill that's just fuck it. That's what we need for this group.
That's what I mean.
Fuck it. Yeah.
Okay, so this is fight, and okay. Oh, this is going to be fun.
Oh dear.
No, no successes.
No.
We're
funny
standing
enough,
in
no.
whale oil.
You fire the bolt off. The canisters shatter, but unfortunately, they don't ignite.
Could I take
I wanted
Hardy's
to see an
cigarette and flick
explosion.
that over there?
He just created a leaking bomb that could go off at any time. Just someone has to walk around the corner and light a cigarette.
You absolutely can.
I can do that?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, I'm going to snatch the cigarette from Hardy and flick it.
You flick
I
the
hate
cigarette.
you so much.
As Hardy, the cigarette is gone from your mouth, and suddenly there is a bolt of fire off to your left as the flames kick up. And they almost obscure you from view, like where you're standing, as they kick up towards the center of this area. you have probably got moments. But Sebastian and Hellwise, you can kind of see people up there that you imagine are the rest of your crew. There is the sound of glass breaking, and then there is a large explosion as fire ripples upwards from near where they are.
Why do we always gotta miss the good stuff? And how I starting to climb this wall?
Okay, I'm gonna let the both of you climb up that because the guards, now that you've got this kind of wall of fire, you're quite close to it, but it does help obscure from some of the guards, but you can hear people rushing over. What would you all like to do? All you have to do is get into the district.
Yeah. Run for the wall. I'm assuming that's the plan. The plan we haven't really discussed, but apparently there's a plan.
Wow, the wall of light is
They're
still
told
active.
there's a plan. Oh shoot. All right. So how much do I know about? From being on a whaling ship, do I know enough about whale oil technology to be able to like take out part of the wall?
Whale oil technology is prevalent everywhere. It runs the lights,
Right.
It runs all the electric systems. There would be a whale oil canister attached to the wall of light, which feeds it power, and it essentially works like a battery. Take the battery out,
Okay.
or drain the battery, and you no longer have power.
I must have done this at least once. Okay, well then I am sprinting straight for the nearest section of wall that I think I can disable to allow us all through.
Okay, so you rush over to it, and luckily this fire is causing a distraction. The guards have come over, and they are working on putting it out.
Right.
But you probably have seconds before you are noticed. So
Yes.
if you want to try and remove that canister, go ahead and make me a tinker swiftly.
Yes. Okay. Ooh,
Difficulty 2. You don't have any
Right.
momentum, but you're welcome to give me
No.
some chaos.
I have to decide that now before I roll, right?
Yeah.
Take the chaos. Does that mean I
How
roll
many
3
chaos?
dice?
How many
I'll give
dice do you
you-
like to roll? So you can
We've
roll
got to
up
get
an
through
X.
this wall.
Would you like
2
one
point-
extra dice, two
Maybe-
extra dice, or 3?
Two extra dice. I'll take 2.
Okay.
We've got to get through this wall. We've got to get through this wall. Okay. 4 dice, right?
Mm-hmm.
7, 7, 8, 19. I believe that. Yes, right, because my my tinker and my swiftly is 5 and a 5. So
Yeah. So you've got your 3 successes that you needed.
yes.
As you
Oh.
grab the canister and you carefully open it up and you undo the mechanism that holds it in place and you pull it and you hear the kind of electric sound dissipate. The noise of the fire spitting up and the guards covers the sound, leaving the wall of light, which Sebastian and Hellwise you can see as the kind of electric current that sparks across where you know this wall to be disappears.
That was costly.
go.
Let's go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
start pegging it. Just run.
Okay. And you run, making your way into the flooded district. It is not pleasant. The place smells of death and decay and stagnant water and wood. It's not so bad at first, but you soon reach further in where the streets are so flooded that the water comes halfway up the buildings and you have to climb from rooftop to rooftop. Zevi, you were told the name of the bank by the strange man you met in the place that wasn't Dunwall. And the place almost feels like a dream now. Like it wasn't quite real, but it must have been, because you can still see the tattoo left on your hand, the strange mark that you were given, this gift.
Okay. So I think at this point, as we're all like finally inside the district, Zevi will turn to everybody and be like, so, I mean, first of all, I caught back up with all of you because I'm amazing and awesome. But also, while I was, enacting my master plan to get back to you all, ran into this really weird, I don't usually believe in, ghosts per se, but this guy was pretty ghost-like. Anyways, he was really creepy. He said he'd been watching. I think he's like a stalker, but he did give me this gift, which allows me to kind of teleport, I guess. I'm not sure how it works, but I got this cool tattoo. She'll hold up her hand.
Is anybody here particularly religious?
No.
Does anybody here have interest in the occult?
Yes.
No.
You recognize this mark, Tarquin. You've heard of the Outsider. You know that the Abbey of the Everyman outrightly bans such talk. Outsider shrines are heresy. The cults that practice them are often put to death. You've heard of the bone charms and the strange occult artifacts and the runes that people claim to have and that perhaps are sold down in Wormwood Way on the streets of Dunwall. The Outsider is very much real. There are many, well, not many, but there are some who have been marked by him. You know, because you deal in information, that the Whalers themselves get many of their supernatural abilities thanks to the Outsider. That is the mark which you see upon Zevi.
I have a feeling that might come in handy, but I think perhaps it's best to cover it up.
Was that a joke, Handy?
You...
Yes.
Zevi looks at Tarquin and goes, "Your face is making that expression again, you know, when you're worried, but you're not telling me all the bad stuff about the job."
Do you want to know the bad stuff?
I kind of do.
Okay. I'll explain a little bit about the Outsider and...
Yeah. So the Outsider himself, nobody really knows who they are. There's a lot of debate on whether he's real. Obviously, the Abbey of the Everyman consider the worship of the Outsider heretics. The Outsider is a strange, godlike entity that has been known to bestow power upon people, or so they say. You all would have heard of bone charms, strange supernatural objects that, if caught with by the Abbey, you can be sentenced to some pretty harsh things, but this is something else. The Outsider has only taken interest in a handful of people, Corvo Atano being one of them. The Royal Protector.
Okay, great. So now I've got this super creepy stalker god that has given me these cool powers that I'm gonna get murdered for. Fantastic. My day is going great.
Pretty much, yeah.
So we all generally accept this as real, or some of us don't believe in this?
That is down to you. Most people accept that there is something, that the void is something. But direct worship of the Outsider is considered heresy, the same way that in some places witchcraft is still considered heresy.
So what would someone being marked be considered? Would that also be considered generally as like a bad thing?
By the Abbey of the Everyman, yes. But
Gotcha.
It depends on where you stand.
Okay.
For others, no.
Okay.
It really just depends. But you are here. You are within the flooded district, and luckily, the navigating towards the Teller's Bank is not too difficult. You come across a handful of Weepers, but manage to avoid them or quite easily fight them off here. They're not too high in number. You may have to swim or wade through the water, but the bank itself is accessible from the second floor, or so it seems. But as you enter the building, it looks like part of the floor has collapsed through.
As we swim into the building, right? Yeah.
You can attempt to swim into it if you wish.
No. You said it's filled with hagfish, right? The water's all filled with hagfish?
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, no, that's no. You basically, I was like, I put all these points in swimming. You're like, you can swim, but it's filled with slime. No, we'll walk it.
I have a quick question too. So since I have the 2 stress, is there any way that I can, like Zevi can patch herself up and heal it all, or at the very least, patch it up before getting into potentially infected water?
As you think about this, the first time you have to wade through water, you realize you haven't really thought about the pain.
Okay.
There is nothing there. You can see what
So
looks like a
Zevi's-
scar.
Okay.
And Zevi, I'd like you to increase your stress by 2, your maximum stress by 2, and remove the stress that you have.
Neat. Had a long rest.
So Zevi's gonna kind of pull up her shirt and look at it and be like, okay, this might be worth the mark. Yeah, that's pretty freaking cool.
There is a neat scar across there, but it looks well healed.
And she'll show the scar off to Hellwise, be like, look at this cool scar I got.
Yeah, I might pin it out too.
Hellwise will also lift up like the front and be like,
Yeah.
We match.
Yeah, we've all had our repentance out, dude. It's commonplace in this time and age. Come on. See ghosts and shit.
As you approach the bank, the teller's bank, the place that you know this safety deposit box that these men from the Bottle Street gang were supposed to be retrieving for its riches, what do you all do? Sebastian, what is happening is you've kind of been pulled along on this adventure with the promise of gold and reward at the end of it. And now you're here in the flooded district with the threat of weepers and hagfish. And so far you haven't encountered any of the whalers. And you should probably pray that you don't.
At this point, I think it's the time he would be spending it doing kind of lookout duty. But once they all get into the bank, he would be helping to look for the box, probably.
Okay. Anyone who would like to search around in the bank, looking for... Because you never went to go and see the Bottle Street gang to find out if there was any further info on exactly what, but you're trying to find the room where the safes would be kept.
Can I use first a glance as we walk into this room?
Sure. Why don't you go ahead and tell us what that does?
When you first enter a location you've never been to before or encounter a type of creature you've never seen before, you may make a study swiftly test at a difficulty of 0. Any momentum you generate must be spent to ask the GM questions about the location or creature as appropriate.
Okay, go ahead and make that test then. So it's difficulty 0, which means it automatically succeeds, but the momentum you get you can't save it. You have to use it as the kind of ask a question.
Okay, excellent.
Spend.
So study swiftly. Okay, so that'd be 11 for me. And that's going to be with 2 dice, I imagine? Yes. Okay. 1 and a 16. So that 1 is definitely a double. So
do you have a focus? One's only doubles in this if you've got a focus that applies.
Natural philosophy. No, I was looking around a room for a vault.
No, so natural philosophy is basically the Dishonored equivalent of science.
Sure. Right. Well, vaults are science.
So that's 1 point of momentum.
Yeah, all right.
What about the statistical probability of where the vault would be based on other banks? There you go.
Yeah. I want to spend that 1 point then. Like, I'm basically looking around the bank for the diagram up on the wall for like the fire escape diagram or whatever that would show where everything was laid out, you know?
I think you can probably find that.
Yeah.
And you notice that the vaults themselves, it looks like they were kept on the second floor. So more like the safety deposit boxes rather than the places where they would hoard tons and tons of gold or silver or coin appear to be upstairs.
Right. They took all the heavy stuff upstairs. Okay. Vaults upstairs.
Who is heading up there first?
I'll head up. This is
You're leading us.
my job.
Yep.
I'll follow close behind with my sword drawn.
Oh yeah, I've got the crossbow out, ready.
I guess I have
You
a
go-
knife. You know to bring weapons.
You go upstairs, and thankfully this floor is empty. You are, though, soaking wet as you've had to wade in through the ground floor, and you get up here and you can see where there would have been iron bars, behind which you can see there are a number of safes and deposit boxes. The iron bars are open.
Certainly not the first here.
One of the safes here is also open, and you can see inside what looks to be a brass box that has a key locked into the front, lying open, slightly propped up against the side as if it had just been kind of shoved in there.
I'll go up and start to search if I can. See if there's
Okay.
anything left at all.
You begin to search through. There is no coin in this safe, no gold. You can see that there appears to be a few rotting papers where the ink has faded to damp, and the edges have begun to curl and blacken. It looks like they might have been deeds or writs or contracts. But inside that gold box, there is a letter, which too appears to be suffering from the same treatment, but it's less blackened. The envelope darkened in color, but the contents estate kind of unknown. It's still sealed. Anything else that was in this box, however, is gone, and you can see, although a key has been used, you can see like a marking around the edge, as if there was a tray that once went in here, and what looks like to be some kind of scratch marks, almost as if someone has tried to claw it up. Sebastian, beside your foot as you enter into this room, you step on a gold tray of about the same size.
I'll pick it up, I guess, and just kind of. This does go with that, right?
It seems that way. Do I recognize the seal at all? Is it like a wax seal?
It is, but it's not. It doesn't appear to have like a family crest or anything on there. It is a fairly plain, standard black seal.
I'll take a step back and let Sebastian, if he wants to, bring that gold tray.
Sebastian, you've seen lockboxes like this. I imagine for the tavern that perhaps as the kind of de facto bodyguard doorman, you have also been tasked with taking money to the bank. And these are the kind of trays that might be used. You've never used them, as much of the money gets stored in coin or in gold. But you have seen these trays used by other much wealthier patrons, and they are essentially safety deposit boxes. They can store coin, items, whatever it is an individual wishes to lock away for safekeeping. You would also imagine, knowing the owner of the tavern, you know what the false bottom in a drawer looks like. There's a couple in the tavern that hide various weapons or other, maybe more exotic illicit alcohols that are not exactly legal to sell in Dunwall. And so as you get closer to this box, you can see that's exactly what this was. A false bottom.
Okay. And I will explain that to the group.
You too spot the letter inside this safety deposit box too.
Is anyone going to read it?
That's all we've got.
I'm not the best at reading. I'll let Tarky here read it. You're the smart one.
Sometimes. I'll pop the seal and have a read if there's much to read left.
You pick up the letter, and it's not like it's been waterlogged itself, but the damp in the air has clearly got to it, as the page, the envelope itself is a little bit fragile, and you can feel the paper kind of bitting up in your hand as you touch it. You go to tear the seal, and instead of the wax kind of coming off nice and clean, it actually just tears some of the paper with it. And you open up and reveal the letter inside. It's a single sheet. Water damage in some places and molding slowly, but you begin to read. The letter is penned in a hasty hand. It talks about... It's difficult to read in places because like the ink has begun to kind of dissolve and fade from time and in the environment, but you catch snippets. I should never have bought this thing. It helped me find the silver, but what else it did wasn't worth it. There's a whole section that's kind of, you can see the ink has faded too much to read. Looks like water spots at some point have got into here. And it finishes by describing that the writer is locking it in the deposit box and hopes that this letter is read when it is collected before it is used. It says that the object is wrapped in a small velvet pouch, but it doesn't stop the singing.
I'll be reading this out loud, by the way, to everybody, what I can. Someone's got it.
So it sounds... Yeah, it sounds like those guys came here, got the thing, and they've either run off with it or they're dead somewhere. Which I guess is kind of what we need already, but this sort of confirms it.
Yeah.
Hellwise, what are you doing right now, as you're all kind of in this vault room?
I think she's definitely listening to what's going on, but she's also kind of scouting out, probably like walking around the room. I assume there's like casual debris, probably flipping things over with her sword, maybe even seeing if she can get into a closed box, just kind of nonchalantly. Just kind of scouting things out.
You head in, you pull one of the boxes from kind of the chart on the walls, and you don't spot the key anywhere in sight, so you take your blade and begin to pull it open. As you do, the box kind of slips off the table onto the floor. There are a few small gold bars, essentially, that come out, as well as what looks like some molding paperwork for something, a deed or a writ, or something of that kind, some business paperwork. But as you retrieve the gold on the floor, your fingers brush against something soft.
Is it under something?
No, it's what the gold's landed on top of, which appears to be discarded, a piece of soft but yet still molding black fabric.
I'll grab it. I'll put the gold in my pocket and kind of grab it and look at it to see if I can figure out like what it's from.
You look at it, you hold it up, and it is a square piece of fabric, probably no bigger than a handkerchief. It appears to be black velvet. It has clearly once or at some point been folded over something, because you can still see the crease lines in it and the marking where something has been tied around it at some point when it's been folded. And if you've been listening to the letter, an object was wrapped in black velvet.
She's gonna say, guys, and like hold it up, and then she's gonna start looking around on the floor to see if for some reason they dropped it, or if she can find anything else pertaining to the object.
Okay, go ahead. Roll me it's gonna be study carefully.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't
like
pick
I'm not
up
good at
the black
paper.
velvet part. So as far as I'm concerned, as far as Hardy is concerned, she just picked up trash and showed it to us. Look. Then she's digging through more.
So it's gonna be difficulty 1.
Okay. Oh, hey, I got a success.
Okay. You search around the floor and you don't find anything that you think would have been wrapped in this. But clearly, the wrap itself is not as molding or as dirty as the other kind of material that you find around it. Like the carpet is threadbare, almost gone. Some of the niceties in this room that would have been made of fabric are far more degraded than this. So whatever this was had come out of that box recently and had been discarded on the floor, you'd imagine.
Can I look around and see? I know that we've kind of been around in here, but is there any clues of like a general path that somebody else has taken before? Also, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, you imagine that the way that you've come in is the way that anyone else would come in.
Okay. Can I figure out what it is by the indentions in the cloth?
You can try. It's going to be difficult. This is going to be study cleverly, and it's going to be difficulty 4.
Oh my goodness, no, because I'm gonna fail. Never mind. She's gonna hand it to somebody else.
You can spend some chaos if you wish.
Being completely honest, that is so not even up her alley. She probably looks at it, realizes that she has no idea what it is, and will hand it over probably to someone she feels like has a better guess.
Sure. Who is she handing it over to?
I don't actually know. Who looks like they don't think it's trash?
That depends. Who is interested in this piece of black velvet?
I'll take a look.
Okay.
I will hand it willingly.
Okay. Yeah, so wait, what's it? This is a difficulty 4 check if I want to...
Yeah.
Okay.
It's going to be studied carefully. You can give me some chaos to buy some dice if you wish.
I mean, my study carefully is still only a 10, and I don't know if I have any focuses. Well, I don't have any focuses that would...
What focuses have you got?
Innuendo, free running, and archery.
Okay.
So no.
Okay. So yeah, none of them are going to apply here.
No. So this would be a lot of chaos, and it would still only be like a 50-50 chance of each dice roll being a success. What do we want to do?
But if you succeed, there is always the chance. There's always the chance of generating some momentum.
Maybe we look around for some other clues first?
Yeah. There's literally no chance of generating some momentum, I don't think, because I'd need to buy 2 dice, and then I'd need to get success on all 4 dice. Which is a 50-50 chance on each roll, which that seems like too much of a gamble.
Would you like to succeed at cost?
Ooh.
Oh.
What's the cost?
The cost is that once you discover what you're looking at, something happens.
Yeah, let's do it.
I'll punch whatever happens.
So
we have a
you
plan.
look over this,
it's fine.
And you can see
something. Let's do this.
You can see where something has been indented in this, like something had been wrapped in it. And you don't figure this out from the indents in the cloth. You figure it out because you, who deals in information, have seen things, small things wrapped in parcels that you have once been told sound like they're singing. As it clicks in your mind, perhaps a scheme that you were involved with to do with Foxglove. where you had to transport an illicit bone charm through Dunwall for somebody in the aristocracy. What you're looking at, an object that provides some kind of benefit or power, and bone charms are said to sing to those who are particularly sensitive to the void. Perhaps what they found here was just that, a bone charm. But the thieves never bothered to look at the letter and discover that perhaps it was not what it seemed. If it was locked away in a safety deposit box, it was probably powerful enough that this person didn't want it around, or valuable. Two things which you probably don't want running around Dunwall in the hands of thieves who perhaps don't understand what they're holding, and could be flogged for a very high price to anybody with enough coin down in Wormwood Way. And if news gets out that perhaps a handful of lowly thugs are carrying around an object of such value, it could cause riots on the streets of Dunwall among the criminal class who could vie for its power. And that is where we end tonight's session. On the discovery that perhaps the mission to discover what happened to the Bottle Street gang members is a bit more complicated than you expected. But yes, so we're going to pick this up next week as you go on the trail of the Bone Charm. I hope you all enjoyed that first session.
Oh my
amazing.
goodness.
Amazing.
Yes.
Loved it.
So let's go around. Let's see how everyone's doing. Hopefully everyone in chat has been having a ton of fun watching me put them through hell with the guards and this mystery. Let's go the opposite way around this time. And let's start with Max. How are you doing tonight? How was that for you for your first play of Dishonored, the RPG?
Oh my goodness, that was so much fun. I'm loving all of these elements. Having played a bit of the first game, this feels very much as much chaos as we generated. This feels very much like the game. So this is amazing. I had so much fun. But yeah, you can find me everywhere at MaxWithJ07 on Twitter and on Twitch. Come say hi on my Twitter or come watch when I stream. I usually stream towards the end of the week. This was so much fun, and I'm really interested to see where this goes.
And moving around, we have the wonderful Raven. How are you doing tonight? How was that for you for the first playthrough?
That was so much fun. It was a blast. This is my first experience with Dishonored, and now I want to go play the game because this world feels awesome.
It's really cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really excited for next week and seeing what crazy stuff Zevi's got herself into. This new tattoo. But yeah, I had a lot of fun. Yeah, where you can find me at Twitter is at the Raven, just like it is right below my face. And then on Twitch, it's the same thing without the. And you can find me next at 7 p.m. Mountain Time, 9 p.m. Eastern over there. We're going to be doing the Peasant Strike Back, which is a D&D 5th edition game where we basically play the NPCs rather than the heroes. It's a lot of fun. So, yeah. But thank you, Virginia, for the amazing game.
You're more than welcome. I'm glad to be running it. Speaking of amazing, we have the wonderful Jordan. How was this tonight for you? Where can we find you on the internet?
Let me tell you, I'm going to be broke after this because I not only now am investing in the video game, but also the TTRPG when it's out because this is phenomenal. Absolutely. As always, love playing with this group of people. But I am Jordan, aka Sassy with Sander. You can find me on all the social medias under Sassy with Sander. I also have a YouTube channel where I do music, so check that out. I also help run Jam Game Streams, which is doing a lot of streams this week because I'm on spring break. Woo! And it just got extended, so I got a long break. Is that all I do? Oh, and I'm Medina on Fate and the Fable Maiden. So check that out. It's an all-women D&D podcast that's legit. So.
Speaking of legit, we have our wonderful Aram playing our sailor tonight. The legit heartthrob of the group, I think. How's this for you? Where can we find you?
I just play thirst traps. That's all I do. Yeah, this is great. I really enjoyed this game quite a lot, and I think I'm really enjoying my jerk of a character. And if you want to find anything else, I'm streaming every day. I got nothing else to do. We're basically in lockdown here in Chicago, and we're going to be in real lockdown on Monday. So my stream schedule is up on Vardian at Twitter, and I'll be on every day. Just come by and say hi.
Definitely go and check that out. So you know where to go if you need more entertainment.
More bullshit, right? Yeah. Come see me.
And last but definitely not least, we have the wonderful Darby. How is this for you tonight, friend? Where can we find you on the internet? This
has been amazing. I love how everything absolutely fell apart. It was so good. And then scrambling to get everything back together, that is so Dishonored to me, is just trying to find those little moments where you can make things okay again. And we've kind of done it. I'm scared about what is happening next from succeeding at cost. This should be fun, but I also can't wait. But yeah, you can find me on Twitter at Pixel Justice, everywhere else Malibu Derby 87, and yeah, I do art and things and stuff.
Well, tonight was definitely a fun session. It's been really, really enjoyable doing this as a first preview and showing everybody the game. You all definitely took me in some very unexpected directions. But that is the whole point of RPGs, and seeing what happens.
To be fair, this went like every stealth mission in every role in every video game I've ever played. This is exactly how they go. It's like, oh, let's all sneak in, and then 5 minutes later, you're blowing up a wall. That is every one I've ever been in.
That's me playing Dishonored. Like, I should be stealthy, but now I'm bad at it, so I'm just gonna hit everything. That is me playing the video game. But yeah, so thank you so much for being awesome as always, and thank you so much to all of you out there for watching. If you enjoy what you see over here on Encounter Roleplay from us and all of the other casts that are here, don't forget that you can support Encounter Roleplay over on Patreon, and a lot of that goes towards paying the cast and keeping everything going here so we can keep making awesome content for you. If you want to know how to get the Dishonored RPG, then make sure that you head over to the Modiphius website and sign up to the mailing list, because there should be some news very, very, very soon about when you can pick this up if you're interested. The book is fantastic. It's got all of the rules that you see here tonight, as well as very, very great chapters on all of the lore, all of the bits of Dunwall. So even if, not even just Dunwall, but all of the world of Dishonored to Sakonas and Karnaka, full of plot seeds, awesome NPC stats. So even if you're new to Dishonored, this book will bring you right up to speed. Please don't forget to go over and check out the Discord. I'm sure that we would all love to see what you thought about tonight's session over on the Encounter Roleplay Discord, where all of us hang out. So head over there, make some noise, tell us what you thought. Did you enjoy it? And make sure that you check back on YouTube if you want to catch up with any of the other streams and the awesome games over here on the channel. And if you're on the YouTube, hi, thanks for getting all the way here. We're very grateful to have you, and we hope that you have also enjoyed this. Last but not least, there is no Haunting of Seawall Orphanage tonight, which is the awesome horror show here on Encounter Roleplay by Jonathan Fry, but that will, I believe, be back next week. So in the meantime, maybe definitely go check out some of those YouTube playbacks of any of the campaigns you haven't had a chance to watch there, or the episode that you have been missing. And we will see all of you wonderful folks next week as we conclude the second part and the final part of this two-shot of Dishonored, the role-playing game. Have a wonderful night, folks, and stay safe. See you next week.